found Radio Free Tennessee. Your Tony Basilio show will begin momentarily. Keep it locked in right here at TonyBasilio.com and on your Tony Basilio app. And hey, do us a favor. Spread the word. Another award-winning, thought-provoking.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
Happy Firking Thursday. And this might be a beginning of a new tradition around here, the Firking Thursday. As, boy, we got a stacked and packed program for you. First of all, in honor of this Grant Firking story, which Adam Sparks and Mike Wilson broke, of your News Sentinel, we're going to talk about some of the absolute freak show stuff that we've seen around here in years past. Kind of a fun summer topic anyway, but you don't want to do it against the backdrop of a guy that's out there allegedly taking advantage of his teammates and taking advantage of people, and a guy that really just kind of looks like he hid in plain sight. I was talking to somebody today about the freaking thing, and Tennessee adopted him. They pushed him. They pushed the narrative that he was some golden boy. They made him sound like he was, he's a guy with a freaking lawn care business, for crying out loud. They made it sound like he was a cross between Steve Jobs and Bill Gates with a little bit of Jeff Bezos mixed in. I mean, and you had guys like Paul Feinbaum having him on saying, you're the next Jimmy Sexton. The next Jimmy Sexton? I mean, I had somebody early on in that freaking thing say to me, hey, why don't you get this kid on the air? I said, what? Do you know how many people are at UT that have a lawn care business in the summer or did that when they were in high school? I mean, I'll put my hand up. I never bought it. I never bought any tickets from him, and I never bought it. But boy, the way that story reads, and then some of the stuff I've heard this week, that kid's from another planet. So in honor of him, it's probably going to be next hour. We're going to get to some of the freak show stuff we've seen around here, and I'm taking some nominations today over on Twitter X today. I say we're taking a straw poll later on today in the third hour in honor of the alleged straw man. And we're going to talk about and try to whittle down some of the craziest stuff we've seen around here. Maybe in the John Adams, Tony Basilio era. Because John Adams is in here on a freaking Thursday. John Adams, happy freaking Thursday to you. John Adams, are you there? Happy freaking Thursday, John Adams. Brian Hartman, are you there?
I'm here.
Happy freaking... I heard John laugh, and then he's not there anymore. Matt, happy freaking Thursday to you.
Good to be on here.
The second item of business besides that is that the courts have ruled in the ZZ Stop case, and they've ruled that ZZ's been stopped. So, no Zakai Ziggler, no Gainey. The judge rules. They just don't want to upset the apple cart, and it is what it is. But kudos to Marcos Garza, Zach Lawson, everybody involved for getting that thing as far down the track as they did. They got a lot further with that thing, And they came a lot closer, the observers say, than many people thought they would. They had a very compelling, interesting, inventive, creative argument. And good on them for trying. No harm in trying, as we say in the trade. And Tennessee now knows that they've got $2 million to play with in basketball, and they've got to go get themselves. We need to get Marcos on at some point to talk about this thing. But Tennessee now knows that they got $2 million to play with, and they need an off guard. So that's where they are. John, are you in here with us? Matt, do you like this John Adams, this new thing we get with John now? Are you for this or against this right now?
I'm always for it. I'm just glad John's in.
We heard him laugh. You heard him giggle. I heard him giggle. Hey, Matt, letter grade on the Vitello interview.
Is there bird watching in Omaha?
Matt, I didn't get to any of the questions with Tony. It kind of went in a different direction. Did you notice that yesterday, the Tony Vols interview, and what'd you think of it?
It was really compelling, as always. You and him have a nice, I don't know what you call it, on-air relationship where he kind of opens up to you when he normally probably doesn't want to. So it gave some really good insight, I thought. So it was a really good interview. I'm glad you had him on and you were able to take about 30 extra minutes from him.
But I didn't.
Hopefully they don't lose a recruit over that.
But to the young kids out there, Matt, I didn't get to any of the stuff I wanted to get to, right?
Correct.
Because I just let him go. I just let him. I just listened to him and responded to what he was saying, while telling him, "Hey, you had a hell of a season, man. You had a hell of a season. You got nothing to apologize for." John Adams, are you in here with us, or are we going to have to get you dialed in during the break? Brian Hartman, tell the living listener what we have coming up in our first segment, followed by Berkey, followed by Freak Ring Thursday, where we go through, and that's where John's going to shine like the sun in the middle of the day, because I need his help, and I need your help on some of these past crazy scandals, these crazy presidents we've seen. This Furking thing is insane. You realize this guy was sitting with Donde Plowman at the NCAA tournament in March? I mean, this guy fooled some people now. No offense.
Is he going to be the next head coach at Bishop Sycamore?
That's a great line. This guy fooled a lot of people, apparently. You know, he was one of Danny White's first members of the Trailblazer Society. Now, they've scrubbed that off the internet. Everybody gave this guy a seat. Everybody gave this guy a seat. And here's the thing I've learned about people when you read stories like this. The stuff you read is the tip of the iceberg in stuff like in cases like this. Because inevitably what happens is the second story, third story, people come forward. Yeah, he got me. And this guy was... On3 made this guy the head of their whatever. What'd they do with him, Matt? Like he was their NIL. He had a straw company. What are you doing? I was looking at it the whole time going, Brian will tell you, people came to us and said, you get this guy on. Because he had people pushing him. And I was like, huh? What? David Ubben wrote that the guy had 143 employees. 143 employees? Do you know how many employees that is? Do you know how many employees that is? That's what Tennessee was telling people. I mean, they sold this guy like they were selling gold. I mean, they sold this guy. Huh? What? Huh? Which shows you, because I think Donde Plowman's one of the more brilliant people I've seen in her spot. It just shows you that anybody can hide in plain sight. Another thing it shows you when you read that story is that wanting to be will get you every time. People that have to show you how much money they have, how much influence they have, how many people they know. You better watch those people, man. Those name-dropping people in your life, you better watch them. You better watch them. We're going to come back on the other side. Upon the continuance, Brian, one of the great stories in sports right now, Murray State, their head baseball coach, and also, Brian,
the head groundskeeper of their 800-seat stadium in Murray, Kentucky, Dan Skirka, and his mentor at Walter State, who he worked under, David Shelton, will be on together.
I wonder if he ever bought anything for the Ferkland guy to help with the field up there.
Should I ask that guy if he's got any of the proprietary straw? I mean, this story, I'm sorry. I hate seeing people get beat out of money, though, man. That boils my blood. As we continue with more, we're going to try to connect with John Adams on the other side after this.
Hey, coaches, I'm Billy from Grade A Grounds. We help teams raise money with fresh roasted coffee that features your team's logo on every bag. It's easy to start, and you keep 40% of all the purchases. Visit our website, and let's get your team brewing today, gradeagrounds.com.
Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. And here at Rather & Kittrell, we understand that life is full of transitions. Since 2000, our team of dedicated certified financial planners has been helping individuals, families, and businesses navigate these changes with confidence. From comprehensive wealth management to tailored retirement plans, we're committed to guiding you toward a secure financial future. Ready to take the next step? Visit rkcapital.com or call us at 865-218-8400 to start your journey today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
Summer officially starts this month, and the last thing you want during sweltering heat is a broken air conditioner or HVAC system. That means it's more important than ever to keep you and your family comfortable and safe before extreme Tennessee temperatures arrive. Don't ignore the warning signs that your AC is struggling or nearing the end of its lifespan. And if you need emergency HVAC repairs, routine preventative maintenance, or want to invest in a new system, then call the trusted HVAC experts at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. This month, get up to a $1,000 discount when you buy and install a new air conditioner or HVAC system. We make it easy with free on-site estimates for replacements and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer flexible payment plans including 0% financing with credit approval. Be sure to ask about our 10-plus year warranties that are 2 times longer than industry standards, so you don't spend a cent on unexpected costs in the future. So call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to schedule your appointment today.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Are you stuck in a dead-end job or ready for a new challenge? Do you feel like it's time to try a new career? Well, it's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. My friends at TLD Logistics have some really exciting opportunities for you to learn a new skill. With a new 5-acre driving academy that's now under new leadership with all new course material. And the best part, it's absolutely free. What a great deal to set you on the road to higher pay. And TLD Logistics even offers weekly stipends. to offset food and gas expenses. In 6 weeks' time, you could complete this course and be in compliance with FMCSA regulations. Then you're ready for the open road of opportunity. What are you waiting for? It's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. Visit tldlogistics.com. That's tldlogistics.com. TLD Logistics.
A lime is not always just a lime. You see, some limes are lucky. For when a lime joins the salted rim of a crisp, refreshing Tres Dos Equis, that lime is no longer a mere lime, but a wedge of renowned Mexican limón. Muchas gracias, limón. And also, de nada. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis, imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Hi there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, I've got good news for you. The East Tennessee and Knoxville areas are projected to have another strong year. I'll be happy to talk with you about the latest and greatest info you need. So give me a call at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon, and go Vols.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziggler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, their Mama's Easy approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and ZZ.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols!
Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good. We're getting ready to shine the light here on the program. Before I do that, I want to say a special happy birthday to my lovely bride, Laura, who, God knows why, has been with me for like 34 or 35 years. I mean, that is incredible. We call that, where I come from, we call that crowns in heaven. And so, honey, I love you. Thank you so much. I could never thank you enough. Happy birthday to you, sweetheart. Let's, without further ado, bring another guy in here who wanted to shine the light. We reached out to Dan Skirka, Murray State head baseball coach, who, hey, they captured America Monday night, and for good reason, because his kids play so damn hard, and they played so well and performed, and just an incredibly great story. We reach out. Here's a backstory. We reach out to Coach Skirka, who joins us now. He says, hey, can we get the guy on that's responsible for me getting here? And the answer is yes, we can. As David Shelton also joins us, who had a tremendous season himself at Walter State. And coaches, I welcome you in. Coach Skirka, I want to start with you. Tell me about David Shelton before we bring him in, and why Coach Shelton is so important to you that you want to share a moment with him.
Well, 2 things come to mind when I think a coach, and obviously a friend of mine first and foremost, but just a winner and just a guy with a huge heart. And I think some of that gets overlooked in the winning and the coaching profession. But he truly cares about his players and his program and his coaches. And you know, in a time where, 2014, I was an assistant at Murray State and the coaching staff got let go. I'm searching for a job. I had to put my house up for sale and calling around and got my foot in the door with Coach Shelton and for 4 years we worked side by side and truly side by side. It was awesome. Just learned so much from him, but really the friendship and just the direction, he sent, not just my life, but my family's life. He embraced us and my son, who's getting a lot of airtime now also, was born while we were at Walter State actually born in Knoxville, at the Children's Hospital there. And, just this was phenomenal for me and my family. So can't thank him enough. So yeah, having him on here was cool. It was really cool.
Coach Shelton, talk to me about this young coach that you saw. What did you see, Coach, as you hear him give you this praise, you at Walter State? What did you see in this young man? You took a chance on him.
Well, I'm in a pretty good position, coaching in junior college. When the four-year schools come recruiting my players, I kind of get to know them a little bit. And when Coach Skirka was the recruiting coordinator there at Murray, he would always call about our players. And the thing I noticed about him, he was always on the right ones. And you can't always say that for a lot of four-year schools. A lot of them sometimes are on the wrong guys. But, it told me a little bit about his evaluation skills, and you could tell right away that he was a tireless worker. He was always working his tail off, on the phone, making calls, trying to find players. So when I had the opportunity to hire him, it was kind of a no-brainer. And I've said this for him, about other jobs. All somebody's got to do is interview him, and it's game over. I mean, he'll crush every interview he ever does because he is who he is, and there's nothing fake about it. He's a great coach. He's a great person. That kind of comes out no matter what, and you see it through his players. You see, like you said, you see how hard his players play for him. There's a reason for that. They play hard for him because they trust in him and they know how hard he works for them. So, you kind of get out of it what you put into it in this profession, and he shows that. So, I couldn't be more proud of him.
Did you know that he was going to have this kind of success when you first had him in your employ? Did you know, hey, this guy's going to be a star in this deal?
Yeah, I've kind of said it the entire time. Now, I always foresaw him being a Power 4 recruiting coordinator or even a scout just because of his evaluation skills. Like and the longer you're in this, you realize not everybody can go and sit at a baseball game and pick out the better players. It's kind of a unique talent, and he's got that ability. But he's also got the ability, if he'd have got into scouting, he would, he'd potentially be a general manager or scouting director. He's kind of got one of those. He's kind of one of those that's just going to be. You kind of know he's going to be good no matter what he chooses to do. But obviously, coaching's in his heart and in his blood, and he did I know he was going to take Murray State to Omaha? Well, if I had, my DraftKings account would have been a little bit higher right now. But but am I completely shocked by it? No, not at all. So he's just that good of a coach.
I absolutely love Coach Skirka, that you're having a moment and you're saying, hey, this guy here just went to the Junior College World Series himself and lost in the championship game. Shine the light on him, because you tell me, Coach, about Dan Shelton, because I was telling Coach Shelton off the air, Will Heflin was bragging on him. And Will Heflin said, I had a chance to interface with Coach, and he said, when you're a wet behind the ears kid, this is Heflin now, is mid-20s, late 20s, something like that. And he's helped me out doing some post-game stuff for us, and he's a great kid, like the kind of kids you find in that sport of baseball. Anyway, he says to me, as a young kid, you don't realize all the work that these guys put in, all the work that a David Shelton puts in to pour themselves into others. And there's a lot of truth in that, isn't there, in this life? You don't appreciate things till you get down the road a little bit.
100%. He's the behind the scenes stuff is in college baseball is crazy. It comes to mind, Coach Shelton always did the team's laundry when we traveled, when we're out in Grand Junction for 2 weeks playing for a national championship. That's the kind of person he was. He wanted me and the other assistants to be able to coach our guys, to go scout the other opponents, to enjoy some of our time with family out there. And he would do all that stuff, lining up the meals, the meal money, and like I said, doing the laundry. I mean, there aren't too many head coaches out there that do those type of things for their guys. So, I mean, like I said, just a winner to do what they do year in and year out at the junior college level, where you're basically replacing your whole team every single year, speaks to their culture, his program that he's got. I don't want to say system, but I think that sounds a little more mechanical, because the team changes every year, and he's able to do it year in and year out at the level that they do. I mean, I don't know how many years exactly, but 600 plus wins.
Wow.
Percentage is like 800 or 900. I mean,
wow.
They just, I think they play more 5-inning run rule games than they actually do play 9-inning games where it finishes. It's unbelievable the success they've had. So, I mean, I really thought this year was their year. We've been following them and watching them on ESPN, and we've been having on our run, and we were watching their games when we weren't playing, and following them out in Colorado, hoping, we could both do it at the same time.
It's a great brand of baseball. Hey, I was saying during their run, because we had a couple callers that were calling, and talking them up, and I was encouraging people to check that out over it on the ESPN Plus platform, which is wonderful. And the truth is, it is a one hell of a brand of baseball that's played there. Your kids, let me ask you about your kids the other night. So you get behind in the middle innings, right? And it's getting late, and we're down to like 9 outs, and you come up with a couple of big swings. Your kids, Coach Skirka, were not afraid one iota in the moment. Where does that come from? I mean, they had no history. You had no history doing that. I mean, that's so hard for kids to break through the ceiling in any of these sports.
Yeah, and maybe it's because they don't know otherwise. But you look at a lot of these guys' stories, and they've been at different programs. Some of them have been cut from other Division I programs. Some of them are junior college guys, that this is their first year of Division I baseball. We got a freshman shortstop right now that is just a stud and gets better every time we go out there. But I think it comes from their practice, right? From their reps in the fall where we built that and put the processes into place for them to rely on when the moment gets big. But Coach Shelton has deemed us the one-run racers. I don't know how many texts I've had from him, after a close game we've played where he was following along or watching on ESPN, and we played a lot of one-run games this year, and it's been a lot of different guys that have stepped up. So in that moment, they don't panic. I try to be a steady, calming, energetic voice for them so they don't panic. But, and they keep saying, kind of all the pressure's on everybody else. We're the ones that aren't supposed to be here. Some of these guys aren't even supposed to be playing, and they just go out and have fun and compete. And when you do that, then some special moments arise. And it's been neat to follow along and be in the dugout with them, because it has been a lot of different guys. There's been a lot of cool stories and moments this year.
Dan Skirka wears many hats. He's the Murray State head coach. You've seen online people talk about how he cuts the field. I don't know Coach Shelton over at Walter State if I really believe that. Looking at him, he looks too pretty to be getting up on a tractor from my perspective. But that's just me, Coach Shelton. Answer me this, Coach David Shelton. When you're watching that game the other night, and you saw that replay at second base on that double play ball, and then Matt Dixon wants to jump in here and ask you a question, but did they get that call right or wrong in real time? What was Coach David Shelton thinking when he was watching his protege there, Dan Skirka, in the midst of what we call in wrestling a dusty finish, a false finish, like the old professional wrestling days?
If someone could have had a video camera on me in the Fairfield Inn hotel room, sitting in front of the television watching that with my son, I was having to take him to a little baseball tryout, and we were spending the night down there, and we were watching the end of it. And I said the fact that they won that game saved me from having to replace the television in the hotel room. I was bouncing all over the room. I'm screaming. I'm yelling. I think the phone was ringing from the front desk because I needed to quiet down. I'm like, I thought they got the call wrong, to be honest with you. And I know I'm a little bit biased, but I think just watching, I think the angles they were showing on television didn't show exactly how far off second base Dan's guy was when the kid for Duke stuck his foot out and tripped him. I said, to me, that's interference. And how Dan made it through that without getting thrown out, it just shows how calm he is.
Yes.
And it really showed how his players kind of react with him, because that was the most amazing thing, to watch them dog pile and then have to get up and finish that game again. And they were just like, let's go do it again. No big deal.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to Dan. Like, he didn't get all torn up about it like I was in the hotel room, like screaming and yelling at any, at the TV. And so, I mean, and I texted him right after, and I said, well, the good thing about it is you got 2 dog piles. How cool is that?
Yeah, hey, Coach, if they missed a shot the first time, the people that do all the social media stuff these days, they could always get the second one and intersperse it. Like who's going to know which one's is the real dog pile to history? But here's my thing, and I want you guys' thoughts on this, because I'm arguing with some friends of mine. I'm saying he's out, okay, on that play. And the reason he's out is, in our day, you could wipe somebody out and kill them, and nobody cared. You could go as far out. I mean, back in the day, man, people that are new to baseball these days, trust me, when I grew up in the 70s and you're playing middle infield, you had marks all over your legs. It was just, don't tell me baseball wasn't back then it was seriously a contact sport in the middle infield. But you are right. But here's my friends tell me, you can't end a game on that call. And I was asking Dan Skirka here when we first were getting you guys up, how in the world can't you, and if you're going to call that in the 5th inning, why can't you call it in the bottom of the 9th? Of course you can end a call on that call if it's the right call. I mean, where did that come from, guys?
I think in line with that, you can't reverse that call to change the ending of the game. Like, he made the call on the field, the guy that is got the best look at it, he's right there on top of it. And unless they had a different camera angle than what they were showing on TV, you needed the angle that was directly in line with the base between second and first base to see how far that kid's foot came off second base to trip the guy. Well, my thing is and you're 100% right. When we were growing up, I mean, there were a lot of broken ankles and broken legs and torn ACLs. I mean, it was a contact sport in the middle, but it's changed now. We'll get guys called out because they didn't veer out of the baseline far enough if they're too early to slide. I mean,
right. Right.
So,
and we used to teach, and we were taught, I don't know if you were, I was taught, be big. When that ball's coming towards that second baseman and you're in like one of those little kind of pickle plays or whatever, be big. Get in that base path and be big. That's totally not the way the game's played now.
No. And really, it changes. I feel like that rule changes every year. There's some little aspect of it that we've had to adjust as coaches to tell our guys. And a lot of times I neglect to get updated on the rules before the start of the season. So I'm usually behind the times as far as, all right, well, how are we doing the slide play at second? Can we slide straight into the bag? Can we do a pop-up slide? if we slide through the bag, is it an out? I mean, so it seems like it's something different every year. So we'll wait for the ABCA to hopefully make another rule change to see what happens. But I don't know. Like I said, I am biased, but I thought that was an interference call.
How did your Dan Skirka? How did your kid, and you're the head coach at Murray State, they're off to Omaha? He really doesn't need to be on here right now, but he is, and thank you so much for blessing us with some time. I know it's a crazy busy week for you. We're extremely honored to have you on here. But how did you keep your cool? And more to the point, your pitcher looked like he was kind of semi out of gas anyway. Everybody is at the end of those things. You're taxing your entire team. How does he get the wherewithal to come back and just make pitches there? I mean, how did you not lose your cool?
Heartbeat in America.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's impressive. He's a transfer in. He's one of those great stories. I mean, he was at a mid-major his freshman year. He got cut, went to an NAIA last year, got better last summer. We through an alumni connection found out about him that he was looking to leave, and so getting this fall, and he wasn't the way he was right now. He's really put the work in and progressed. But that was just kind of him. Like, he competes, but he doesn't get too up, obviously, or too down. Just the slowest heartbeat in the country. And I mean, the previous week he closed 3 games out at Ole Miss. I mean, he beat Ole Miss on Friday night, 12,000 people there for a save. He closes out a game against Georgia Tech for the save the next night, and then we get blown out on Sunday, so we got a day off. And then he came back on Monday and pitched the last, I think, 3 innings, and again in front of 12,000 people with a regional championship trip to Supers on the line, and did the same thing. Just slowest heartbeat, just executes his pitches, doesn't get bothered by too much. So I knew we had the right guy on the mound. And like you said, I tried to keep my calm and cool so nobody freaked out. We knew, but going into that inning, we had a coach's visit and a player visit still to go out to the mound, and any strategy or talking points, or even just to calm him down or give him a breather. Because like you said, he's gassed. I mean, it was hot and humid on the turf. These dudes it was a long weekend. But he was cruising kind of, he hit the first guy, and then he got 2 quick outs, and then, the double play, we thought it was over. And then when it was done, Steve, my pitching coach, goes, "Hey, you want me to go out there and talk to him?" And then by the time I turn around, our catcher and our third baseman are just kind of chatting with him out there. The body language looked great. I said, "Hey, man, it's their game. Let's let them do their thing. Let's see how he does it here." And sure enough, he fills it up and gets that last guy out, gets the 4-hole out. It's like, yeah, I mean, just the right guy up there. He's a stud. Looking forward to seeing what he does out here in Omaha.
Hey, Matt Dixon, jump in here because he's got a question. Because Coach Gorka, you're our guest, but our special guest. We got a question for our special guest here. Matt Dixon, jump in here.
Yeah, well, I've got questions for both. But Coach Sheldon, you mentioned that Coach Skirga recruits the right guys from your program. Is Tyler Myatt one of those guys? And what's a quick scout on him who's committed to Tennessee?
No, he's not very good. He can't hit a lick. I mean, you look at the numbers that Tyler put up this year. It's like video game numbers. I said if you could have stuck him back in Little League, and right now as a 19-year-old kid, and it might be hard to put up the same number. The fact he did that in a college baseball season is unbelievable. I never thought I'd see a kid hit 500 over the course of a regular season in college baseball, and it's his hit tool is really special, and obviously to do it with the power that he's got. He set our school record with 31 home runs and 110 RBIs. It was almost like I was living in a dream watching it, because I kept waiting for him, to kind of. Well, surely he's going to go in a slump at some point. Everybody does throughout the course of the season, and then he just never did. So I think at that point you realize, all right, well, he's really just as good of a hitter. So he's a special kid.
Matt, second question.
Yeah, and Coach Kirker, when did you realize that your team had this kind of potential that that can make a deep run in the tournament because, I mean, you see it every year. Tennessee saw it with Evansville last year as a 4. The 4 seeds don't look overmatched in these tournament games for the most part. But when did you realize that this team in particular had the kind of stuff that could get to Omaha?
Well, it wasn't till late in the year, and it was been quite a process with these guys. So last year we had 22 seniors on our team last year. We won 37 regular season games, second most in school history, had multiple draft picks, and we thought last year was our year. Like, just kind of going into it, we knew we were old. We had a solid year the year before. I think we won 34 or 35 games the year before, and we brought all these guys back with another year of experience and added some other pieces in, and we were really excited. And we went 2-0 at our tournament. And as mid-major, we got 2 bids in our league last year, but to get a third was not going to happen. So then we lost all those guys. So input 28 newcomers. This fall was ugly. We had some really bad scrimmages against opponents. We had some really bad inter squads, and we had some bad practices. But the guys put in the work. The returners were really led, just stayed patient and kind of let the coaches and the new guys kind of learn and progress slowly and methodically. And in all those processes that we put in, it still wasn't, earlier in the year we started hot. I think we were 7-0, 8-0, and then we lost at Ole Miss in extra innings for our first loss. But then we lost our first 2 conference series. So we started 2-4 in conference play. And then after that, we didn't lose another series. There were some sweeps in there, and then going into our last weekend, we were playing for the regular season championship, and that was when we kind of got hot. We won that. We went into the conference tournament. We went 4-0 at the conference tournament, and then that went into the regional and super, which a lot of people have been able to follow and see. But to say this, like, we felt like we had an Omaha team, I don't think we would say that. But we just wanted to keep working, and we kept talking about we haven't reached our potential yet. We really felt that, like, just to try to get everybody clicking, the pitchers on the same page, and we played good defense all year. And then obviously we've got some hot hitters and some really, a deep lineup, I think. So, like you said, it's a tough out sometimes with these 4 seeds that have been through that grind and had to earn and learn how to play the game and fit into their roles and all that and learn how to compete. And this group's definitely fits that same mold.
I'm not sleeping on you guys for 5 seconds out there. And I'll tell you this too, the other night, what Duke did in hosting for the first time in 100 years, I mean, that's a hell of an accomplishment too. Like, that's kind of lost in that. But that kind of speaks to how and then the 8 new teams from last year at that level. I mean, college baseball is very competitive, guys. There's a lot of good ball players out there, a lot of them, and a lot of good coaches too. But you boys got to go. Coach, I know you got to go. Both of you do. Hey, David Shelton and Dan Skirka, congratulations. Both of you guys got to the World Series this year. Unbelievable, guys. Anybody have a final thought here on the way out from either one of you? 2 legendary coaches at this point.
I'd just like to say good luck to Coach Skirka and the one-run racers, and I can't wait to get on a plane and get up there to see him on Monday. I'm going to be a little bit late to the party, but I'll be there as soon as possible.
And I want Coach to know, since you dropped the betting tip earlier, I got you on the money line game 1. Don't you dare let me down. Thank you, boys. Take care. Thank you, guys.
That's awesome. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. That was really, really great stuff. Hey, Matt, is that not fun that guy – and John, how many head coaches, when they get the spotlight, would tell the producer, oh, yeah, I know that show in Knoxville. Yeah. Sure. You got to bring my guy in there. I want to talk to my guy. I want him to share some spotlight here. How many coaches, John Adams, do that in this profession in your lifetime?
Not very many, Tony. I've come across a few. I remember when Philip Fulmer was the coach at Tennessee. Remember that game against Kansas State in the Cotton Bowl when Tennessee really got hammered in that game. And afterward, Fulmer gave credit to his offensive coordinator at the time, Randy Sanders. I remember his saying, I don't know what Randy was thinking on that call. So some coaches will, compliment or call out their assistants. Not a lot of them, though.
Matt, what did you think of that segment on the way out here? Because Berkey's getting ready to join. What did you think of that, Matt? You being a baseball freak.
It was really good. I liked it. It was really good. Kind of unique. Walter State's kind of a hidden gem and maybe the best JUCO program in the country. So it was really cool that we could get both of those guys on who had really successful seasons, and hopefully Murray State can continue it. They've won all the one-run games, whereas Kentucky lost a bunch of one-run games. So I'm glad all that luck in the Commonwealth went to the Racers.
Zakai Ziegler's counsel is about to issue a statement that we just released over at on our Twitter account at Tony Basilio, and it reads as follows: We are disappointed that the court declined to grant a preliminary injunction on the basis that the NCAA does not control NIL compensation just days after the House settlement confirmed that they would do exactly that. This ruling is just the first chapter in what we believe will ultimately be a successful challenge. We intend to press forward and are evaluating the best path ahead for Zakai Ziegler. So it looks like the fight's going to go on. So hopefully we can get counsel on here. It looks like they boxed the judge in on this thing, and she essentially just kind of denied reality. Is the way it's being read in the space by some of the legal experts. I know enough about stuff like that to be dangerous or to not be dangerous, I guess. But maybe Berkey can give us his thoughts on the legal ruling. You think Chris Burke would help us with that, John, as you have interfaced with him? You think Berkey would be good at it? Yeah, I agree. We're going to come back on the other side. Chris Burke, and then we get to our freaking Thursday. Some of the freak show, freaky things we've seen around here. This Grant Freaking story, I never got it. Matt, did it ever add up to you that this young guy was getting all these honors bestowed on him like he was Steve Jobs or something? And he was throwing, I don't know what he was doing. He had a little straw company or whatever. You know how many people cut grass in the summer? And it's great. It's great hard work. Or landscape. I'm not going to make him the head of my NIL division. No offense. Totally bizarre. And he got so close to so many powerful people. They made it, put him in the shareholder. What? But at any rate, congratulations to Adam Sparks and Mike Wilson of the News Sentinel for breaking what is an incredible story. You know, that thing looks like that would be a great podcast, a great documentary one day. That is a mess. That's a mess on like 9 continents. And it's a cursory tale to all of us that when things look too good to be true, you know what they are? A lot of times, they're too good to be true. As we continue with more on the other side after this.
It's the hottest post-game show on the planet. Garza Law. Fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Tony Basilio, and we are live once again with Chad Stockton of FC Alliance. And Chad, you're out there on the field, 100 strong here in Knoxville. Talk to me. What's been going on with FC Alliance now that the weather's heating up?
We're out here for the first night of the boys' tryouts. We have over 400 kids that'll be here tonight. So a lot of exciting times right now for us. Our club teams start at U9 and we go all the way through U19. We have over 1,000 kids that come from Chattanooga from the Tri-Cities that make all our teams and make this club what it is today. So we're excited about it. We finished the younger kids a couple of weeks ago. We just finished the girls last night, and now we're on to our older boys program as we speak right now.
And we're blowing and going in the Tri-Cities. Tell me about it.
We started FC Alliance North 1 year ago, and coming off the first year, we are the largest, most competitive club up in the Tri-Cities area. We just finished our trials last night. Looks like right now we will be well over 400 kids for the upcoming season. So great things happening up there. We've put our boys into some really good regional leagues. So we're excited about what the future holds for them and also our girls programs.
If you want more information, check them out at fcallianceknox.org. That's fcallianceknox.org. Chad Stockton, keep growing the beautiful game here in East Tennessee.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tony.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Listen up, baseball fans. It's time to step up to the plate and get some new Tennessee gear from Alumni Hall. Don't you dare swing and miss by shopping elsewhere. Alumni Hall has the best selection, top brands for you to choose from. Shop in store, 3 Knoxville locations, or Bristol or Murfreesboro. Anytime, online, anywhere in the world at alumnihall.com. Come grab your Tennessee baseball jerseys. Incredible. Oh, Coach Vitello jersey, hats, decals, t-shirts, and so much more. Earn $10 in rewards for every $150 spent. Shop Alumni Hall, your ultimate Tennessee shopping destination. Go Vols from Alumni Hall. Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care, I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net. TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting, because every customer counts, and I mean no job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you. Not like some of these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne, celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing.
Attention Vol fans, are you tired of complicated, clunky fleet technology that makes your job harder? Say goodbye to frustration and hello to Connexial, your hometown partner in logistics. It's time to rev up your operations with next level fleet management from Connexial. Connexial is here to keep your business on track with technology that works as hard as you do. Our game-changing ELD gives you more than just hours of service. With AI-powered dash cameras and real-time asset tracking, You'll have eyes on the road, cargo, and your fleet from anywhere, anytime. And the best part, our friendly, U.S.-based customer support team is just one phone call away. No more long wait times or frustrating tech talk. Just real people with real solutions. With ConnectSeal, you get a professional team you can trust and easy-to-use products that keep you on the road. What do you say, Tony?
I'm ready. Make the smart move and call ConnectSeal today.
865-888-6920. Learn more at ConnectSeal.com. That's KONEXIAL.com. Drive life with ConnectSeal and go Vols.
Basilio here, and my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com, Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company.
Yeehaw! Some people say betting online is still the wild, wild west. But with the VIP Play app, you're riding with the best. VIP Play app is hotter than a $2 pistol packed with flair. Live hosts and features finer than a frog hair. Send your old betting problems out of town with a slap. You'll be betting sharp as a tack on the VIP Play app.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-88-99789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather and Kittrell Capital Management. Life is full of transitions. Planning for retirement, managing investments, or navigating major life changes. Here at Rather and Kittrell, we're here to guide you through every step. Visit rkcapital.com or call 865-218-8400 to start your journey toward financial clarity today. Rather and Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
Tony B. back with you, 865-200-5402. All right, Bri Hartman, you're producing the show. I don't know where Chris Burke is.
Well, I don't know either. He said he was coming on, and I guess he got tied up somewhere else. You never know. Travel snags.
Is he on our guest line here, or is he on our call line? Text him and see if he's there. Text him and see if that's him on our call line, because I don't, Because I'm gonna move on with that.
He might have got a better offer. I mean, you need to consider that possibility.
What a crazy day. Hey, John, that story with this Freakering, whatever, however you say his name.
I think freaking works a little better.
Is this a crazy place, John? John, down through the years, you've been here since what, 86, 87?
87, yeah.
Okay. And you never left because the content here, like the new saying is now content creators, but the truth is, columnists and talk radio people have always looked for content. This place never disappoints. I mean, this thing, when you read that, I'm going to tell you something about that story about this Grant Firkin guy. He fooled everybody. Well, not everybody, but he fooled just about everybody.
Yeah, Tony, but I do want to, I think it's important to note two things about this. One, you have to be careful with, anytime there's an exchange of money, you have to be careful. Check people's background. Don't because there are a lot of gullible people out there, and you just don't want to be one of those people. So you don't want to be gullible. Also, though, you don't want to paint with a broad brush. I mentioned this earlier. Just because he didn't do what he was going to say he was doing. There's some people, legitimate people out there, that are selling pine straw. In fact, I've got a special on this weekend.
It's pine straw.
Yeah, pine straw. Yeah, is
it a proprietary? Is it a proprietary blend? Where do you think that kid was getting his proprietary blend?
Here's the thing, Tony. We're going to deliver, and you know me. You know I'm trustworthy. You know I'm an honest guy, and I do need to be paid up front. You don't have to pay me cash. If you just give me your debit card,
hey Bert.
I can handle it. Be easy breezy, and we'll get this done, and you'll have all the pine straw you need. Might want to give Laura some pine straw for her birthday.
It is unbelievable, Andy. Yeah, I'm going to tell Laura. She wants John Adams' proprietary, because she loves to garden. And I'm sure John Adams' proprietary blend of pine straw.
Oh, yeah.
From the freaking...
Worms love this pine straw, by the way. They come out of the ground for this stuff.
Of the freaking variety. Let's bring Chris Burke in now without further ado. It is hour 2, so let's keep it live, legal, and local here.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
And so we've now fulfilled our what we call FCC obligations for those of you at home moving left or right across your device. Now joining us on our TLD Logistics phone line, a man will be calling the action in Omaha. Berkey, do you ever take for granted getting a chance to go to Omaha?
I try not to, brother. I try not to. The neat thing about Omaha is when you get off the plane, you're, 2 miles from the stadium, so you see it right as you're coming around the bend, so to speak. And so, you try not to take for granted that this is on my calendar, because it's a special event, man. When you're playing a championship in the same city year after year after year, there's a very different feel to it.
As people there wrap their arms around it. I've got dear friends. The great Chris Kittrell, he goes there every year. I know people from here that go there every year. They say to them, it's like it's the Masters, It's very sacred, man. Very sacred.
Very similar. You know the people, you know the restaurants. You just get so familiar with everything about it, and then it's also neat to watch the teams, especially this year. We have such a diverse field. It's really neat to watch the players and the teams react to being here. And some of the first-time coaches. Arizona has an assistant coach named Trip Couch who's been in the game for 35 years. Never been to Omaha. Never been here. So that's a big deal,
Well, it's a big deal, especially when you think about they beat the hottest team in the world that smoked them in that first game, and they came right back and beat them twice like they weren't even there. I mean, that was an awful – that had to be so painful for those North Carolina people. I bet they were in disbelief when Arizona was dogpiling in their stadium.
Note to self, don't score 3 touchdowns in your opening round super regional game. We've seen that happen to Arkansas a few years ago. It happened to North Carolina. It's when the other team puts the punt team in, you might want to put your punt team offense, your second team punt return in or something, because
I think that's a thing.
Seems to be a bad idea.
Yeah, I think that's a thing in baseball. You can score too much, and I don't know if it's bad juju or whatever it is.
It's like a golfer trying to back up a 59. It's hard to do.
The sport is so great. Yesterday we had Tony Vitello on. He was so introspective. He signed up for 15 minutes. He went for 40.
No.
Well, listen, I had nothing to do with it. At one point he said, I like this. This is therapeutic. But one of the things...
Well, can I butt in there on Tony? Can I just say this? I had somebody call me the other day, and they were kind of trying to... I don't know. The vibe of the conversation wasn't great, and I was just like, look, they won 46 games. they drew the best team in the country, or they'd be back in Omaha. Like, they're going to have the most draft picks of any team, probably in the top 100 picks. They had the SEC Pitcher of the Year, who's a Golden Spikes finalist. They had probably the best college hitter in Andrew Fisher. They made it to the Final Four of the SEC tournament. They made it to a Super. Like, they had an awesome season, and it's actually flattering, I'm sure, for him in some regards that people have kind of picked at this team, considering where the program was 8-9 years ago. But I hope that people can zoom out a little bit and appreciate what they were number one in the country again. They started 20-0. That team did a lot. They really did. It's just crazy the standard that he has built.
Here's a question to anybody that's ripping him: how many teams from last year's College World Series got back?
0.
How many got to the Super Regional round?
Well, that's a good question. Probably 4.
Okay. How many of those won the World Championship last year?
Right.
Oh, now we're down to 1.
Here's an interesting trend. I think Don Adams will like this. I heard his voice when I was on hold there.
He's a man. He's a man.
I think it's going to be interesting to see what of the elite SEC programs, how quick the bounce back rate is. For instance, the 2 SEC teams here that are this year are elite, I'll call them current blue blood programs. LSU, obviously historical, but Arkansas, for the last 15 years, been one of the best programs in the country, even though they haven't won the title. They've certainly been one of the best programs. They weren't here last year, but they're here. Big reason they're here, they made incredible additions in the portal. Well, does not being here give you a leg up to do that? Probably, right?
Yes.
So I think it'll be interesting for these programs that, you can't sell that you were in Omaha this year, but you have all this recent Omaha success and national championships. Like, is it actually, like, let's just say you're Florida, let's say you're Tennessee, let's say you're Texas. It'll be interesting to see the bounce back rate. Like, I just don't, it would be hard for me to picture the droughts of those programs being very long here. And in a weird way, being here, it can be a detriment to getting back here the next year.
Well, in true Tony Vols fashion yesterday, I say to him, hey, man, you have 2 extra weeks to work with in the portal. He said, last year I had no time. Mm-hmm. He said it was, quote, unquote, the worst. winning the championship, he said, and I ran the quote today in the blog. He said, over at tclub.team, check it out, and you can go back and revisit that interview as well. And a bunch of people, the aggregators out there, linked to the interview. Thank you for doing that over on our YouTube video and put it up there. But listen, the truth is this deal is highly competitive. We had Coach Skirka on a second ago from Murray State. And Berkey, I know you're doing your thing. He wanted David Shelton of Walter State, who got him his first real great break that led to him getting this head coaching gig. He wanted to bring him in as well and celebrate their season they had while he was celebrating his season. Awesome. I know it's great. None of this, and I mean none of it, is easy. Tony yesterday, while we're on the air in true Tony Vitello fashion, because he told me, I said, Tony, you have no time. I said, you're limited to 15 minutes. Why are we doing this? He said, well, I can't say no, and I want to get this over with you. But he said during the interview, Berkey, he said, there's a guy sitting in my office right now. If we get him, the only team in America that will be able to stop us next year is us. Whoa. With the guy sitting, if that isn't the most Tony Vitello thing ever, that's kind of who this dude is. Another thing he said is this year's team kind of spooked us out during a home game. I'm not going to tell you which one. During our league season, where a team came in here and really punched us and really did some other things, and we didn't do anything back. We knew we had a different group then. How many coaches, Berkey, have ever told you something like that on a record?
Yeah. Well, that's why people love him. You get what you get, right? You get what you get with Tony Vols. And
I mean, he spit on the air with you guys the other day.
What he's been able to build and accomplish, and the standard that's set, like I said, it's kind of a compliment to all that they've done. The fact that people have picked at this past team the way they did, but they be absent from this event for too long. There's just no way.
Matt Dixon, jump in here. Berkey's in the house, and then John Adams, who's presented by Jennifer Morris, Next Move, SmokyMountains.com, and also the John Adams Pine Straw Company. Matt, jump in.
Yeah, Berkey, always great to talk to you. I guess the Arkansas LSU winner on Saturday probably becomes the overwhelming favorite. What do you think about the left side of the bracket? It kind of seems pretty wide open. I guess Coastal's the favorite, but taking a 23-game winning streak in Omaha in some ways can be a bad thing.
Yeah, I think I think, as you said, I think the left side of the bracket is definitely wide open. I actually think the winner's going to come out of the Louisville-Oregon State game. I really like both the position player groups for those two teams. And I think Oregon State probably has the widest path, and they've proven that they've lost a game in each round and haven't blinked. I think Oregon State they have the depth and the firepower to win their side of the bracket a few different ways. Louisville's path's probably a little more narrow. I feel like Louisville has to win game one because their pitching depth is definitely an issue. But if they do win game one, they've got enough to get to the finals. That being said, if it's Arizona or Coastal, that wouldn't shock me in the least. Arizona beat arguably the one of the favorites, one of the best remaining teams in the field, 2 out of 3 in their own building to get here. So anything they do wouldn't surprise you. And Coastal's won 23 straight and just beat Auburn 2 in a row. So it is a side of the bracket where there's no outcome that'll surprise me. But if you put me on the spot, I do feel like I just feel like the position player group from Oregon State and Louisville are just a cut above.
John Adams, jump in here with the great Chris Burke, who I love.
Yeah, Chris, we were talking about Vitello's not having much time to hit the transfer portal last year because the portal opens, of course, as teams are going through the NCAA tournament. He's in the College World Series, wins the national title. And he's saying, so that had a negative impact on the portal. Yet, even in the worst situations, what does he do? He gets Liam Dahl, one of the best pitchers in the country, Gavin Killen, and Andrew Fisher. Those are 3 of the top players in the country, and he got them all in the transfer portal. So it really makes you wonder if that was a rough year in recruiting transfers, what's he going to do this year?
And, John, he promised me yesterday, before Berkey gives his answer, he said, we are going heavy in the portal this summer. Heavy. Go ahead, Berkey.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they've already shown you that. They've already made some really, big hay on the pitching side of things. It'll be interesting to see on the position player side of things to see how it all shakes out. But, he's got some interesting decisions to make with some of his position players. There's some juniors that didn't have great years that it'll be interesting to see, what those guys' future with the program looks like, or if they get drafted or if they don't, how that goes down. And then you got some young players that showed some promise, but, can he bank on those guys making the jump that they would need to be everyday difference-making players? And so, that's why he gets paid the big bucks. It'll be a bunch of fun, but with Tony and his staff, it's never going to be from lack of effort and uncovering every stone that they can. So, John, I do think they had a great haul last year. It was a smaller haul. Tanner Franklin pitched some real meaningful innings for him as well. Arvidsson was a JUCO kid, but still a huge recruit and get. But it does feel like, there's these couple weeks will probably help them bring in a fuller portal class maybe than last year. Of course, the other piece to kick around is what the roster limitations are actually going to be, and I know that's one thing that everybody's trying to figure out around here.
I love that.
Yeah, it's 34, but is there a grandfather rule, and what is it? It's crazy.
Well, here's my favorite. They don't know how many guys are allowed to bring in the fall.
I know it. They don't know. And those kids come on campus. They always do the freshmen. They have the freshmen come in July for like a mini semester, kind of get their academics kick-started.
Right.
Like those kids are going to be on campus in 30 days, and they still don't have a number. It's crazy.
Tony told me yesterday, he said, I might have to call some kids, either kids, that have signed with us. If a few guys in the draft don't sign, he said, I might have to call some guys in August and say, hey, you can't come. You're out of a spot.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
He said, what are we doing, NCAA? Seriously, that's idiotic.
No, you sign up to do some hard things when you take one of those big boy jobs, especially when you aim to do it at the level that Tony does. So there's no easy answers to that.
Berkey, on the way out, do these Murray State one-run racers, as they were called by the legendary coach that we had on earlier, David Shelton of Walter State kept texting Skirka and saying the one-run racers, do they have a chance to stick around? They have enough baseball team to stick around in this thing?
I think similar to Oral Roberts a couple years ago, it feels like to me there's as good a chance of them winning a game as there would be of them getting swept. Like I guess let me say it differently. I'd be more surprised that they got swept than if they won a game. Because their path here was not fluky. They beat Georgia Tech. They beat Ole Miss a couple times. They beat Duke twice at Duke. I mean, there's nothing fluky about what they did to get here. Obviously, it's a loaded field that you don't make it here on accident. So if they did go 0-2, it wouldn't shock you. But it does feel like they've got enough team, and that closer, Kellum, is not only talented but can give them length, and they've got enough different places they can score in their offense that, and they're not super home run reliant. That it does feel like they can win a game.
Brian Hartman, jump in with the great Chris Burke, who's predicting that the Murray boys will hang around.
Yeah, LSU plays Arkansas. One of those teams is guaranteed to play an elimination game on Monday afternoon. I think that's how the bracket is and how it shapes out. What team do you think is going to, and this is the first time that we will not have an all-SEC final, who do you think comes out of that side of the bracket? Does Arkansas, which team goes further, Arkansas or LSU?
Well, I think, similar to kind of what I said about Oregon State on the left side of the bracket, I feel like Arkansas is probably less dependent on winning the first game. It feels like LSU is a little more dependent because their offense may be a little less suited to slug. Like if they got deeper into their arms, they might not be able to withstand it, where it feels like Arkansas just has 7 or 8 arms they love, and LSU has maybe more like 4 or 5. So Arkansas clearly has the best odds. They definitely have the best team, but not so much so that they're a no-doubter, because they are going to face one of, if not the best pitcher in college baseball in game 1. So, I mean, hard to not like Cade Anderson's chances anytime he takes the mound. But as Tennessee fans know all too well, like that Arkansas lineup is a handful to deal with. So that one's going to be as good a first-round game as we've ever had around here.
Berkey, I love you. I appreciate you. You're my main man, brother. Anything else you'd care to add on the way out? I'll have a great time out there.
I would say this, and I read in the blog the other day what Brian said. As much as the Tennessee fans are hating their team not being there, I hope they still enjoy watching the College World Series, because it's going to be a fantastic field, and you don't have to sweat out check swings in the bottom of the ninth anymore. So, just relax and enjoy the ride. Enjoy being a college baseball fan.
Berkey, you're my man. I love you.
All right, appreciate you guys.
He is absolutely a breath of fresh air. And I'm going to still watch a World Series. Matt, are you?
Yeah, I'm for sure going to watch it.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna enjoy
it's
it.
going to be really compelling.
Yes, it is going to be very compelling. And I like seeing a bunch of fresh blood in there. Why not? And you know what? It would not hurt my feelings to see Arkansas win the whole thing, to be completely honest here. I don't know that they will. The field looks pretty wide open to me, Matt. And you're right. That one side of the bracket, whoever comes out of that thing, somebody's going to go, wow, they made the championship series. So, pretty cool. Good sport. John, will you find yourself looking at it, or do you look away now that Tennessee's eliminated?
No, excuse me. No, I'll watch it. Really enjoyable. I watched it the last time Tennessee wasn't in it, and I wasn't having to write about it. The only regret I have about the way this one is set up, I do like seeing more SEC teams in it. I mean, I still think it's clear and away the best conference. It has the best pro prospects. Doesn't mean it'll win all the time, and I'm sure there are a lot of people glad not to see as many SEC teams in it. But I think it's unfortunate that Arkansas and LSU are matched up in the first game, because I think either one of those teams could win the national championship, and this will put one at a disadvantage, the loser of that game. I don't think LSU's lineup can match Arkansas's. I really like this Arkansas team. What is it? We saw it in the final game against Tennessee in the Super Regional. They roughed up Liam Doyle. They did it not once but twice. Once during the regular season, then again in the Super Regional. That tells me their guys can hit good pitching. They're not just mistake hitters. They can hit good pitching. And that will matter against LSU with their ace going in that first game. But I really like the depth of Arkansas's lineup. It's, Tennessee's best teams have had that kind of deep lineup where you got so many hitters, it doesn't matter whether at the top, middle, or bottom of the order.
John Adams has a proprietary blend with his pine straw. I got to ask him Laura has a question for you. Today's her birthday. Yep. Do you deal in square or round bales of pine straw? Do you do square or round, John? How do you guys sell them?
Great question. We do whatever you want. Whatever you prefer, we do it.
865-200-5400.
Give me that debit card. Just give me the debit card, Laura, and we'll do business. You can count on me. I'm not one of these scam artists. I'm just trying to help other people.
Yeah, live their best life.
Enjoy life.
Live your best life. By the way, 865-200-5402. Now we get to the simpleton part of our program where we just kind of admire what a nutty, crazy place we live in here. And this Tennessee nation, no matter where you are, it is a nation of domination. Shout out to Farouk, some of the great wrestling characters of yesteryear. But it is a nation of domination when it comes to some of the crazy things we've seen. John, on our Freak Ring Thursday, which now we change the topic here, and if you want to jump in, I want you to nominate a story, something bizarre, something semi-amusing, in honor of this Freak Ring story, which is totally bizarre. Completely bizarre.
Well, I got a few nominations. I mean,
but I gotta let callers. Can't just list them all.
Okay, well, I'll just give a few, Tony.
Choose me a couple. Yeah. Hey, Jennifer Morris, nextmovesmokymountains.com. We got to teach John, about the rhythm of the night here. You know what I'm saying? Continue, John.
I wonder if Jennifer's interested in some pine straw. I might want to talk to her about that.
Those homes and those dwellings, a lot of times first thing you've got to do is plant that yard or get that yard in shape, Jennifer.
Lay down the pine straw, build the foundation for a happy tomorrow. That's kind of how I look at Square bales, round bales, doesn't matter. Just need that debit card.
Ray bales.
Here's one. There are so many aspects of this particular UT scandal in which Jeremy Pruitt had a starring role. When you think of Jeremy Pruitt, what comes to mind? Here's what comes to mind. Two things with me. When asked on a reality show about Hoover High when he was a defensive coordinator, and he wondered about what in the world was asparagus, came up in a conversation, and Jeremy Pruitt said, I ain't never heard of it. I thought that kind of captured his language skills. And also
hey, Matt,
the other
Matt
thing.
Dixon, you've said that on here. Is that really true, Matt, or is that like an apocryphal kind of thing that people say about Pruitt? Is that really true that he said that on video, Matt?
Yeah. It's 100% true. Absolutely.
Asparagus, I ain't never heard of it.
Was that on
would
that?
Would you hire that guy as your football coach?
Was that on the show when the Rush Probst guy had the two families, Matt, and he was doing
Yeah, 2 days.
2 a days, 2 families a day. Continue.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing you could sum up the NCAA transgressions that Tennessee in an in-house investigation uncovered multitudes of. Babygate. I mean, a lot of coaches have cheated through the years, but not many of them have involved their babysitter.
Good gosh. All right, so if you want to jump in, Brian, do you have a nomination in honor of this Freakring story, this Grant Freakring guy who just, I don't know, fooled the world? It is one of the more bizarre, because he fooled everybody. This guy fooled them all. And things that people will be talking about 25, 30 years from now, that's one of them. That story with him is just, because it hadn't been written yet. John, here's the thing we know about it. Other news agencies and organizations are chasing that. And people are going to come out of the woodwork now, it seems like. Yes or no with this thing? Yes or no, John, in your experience?
Yeah, that's how it happens a lot of times. You know, a number of times you'll write a story, have some pretty good quotes, you have good anecdotes, and then the story will get published, and you'll be talking to somebody, and the story will foster anecdotes from them. They'll come out and say, hey, well, you know, I was reading that story, and here's what happened with me. So you actually get more stories. That's why it's sometimes a good idea to keep in mind if you're doing this kind of story is you're thinking about what's next, because there will be something coming after this. You can be sure that that's how it always works on a story of this nature.
The last 3 football coaches Tennessee had were scams because Derek Dooley fooled Mike Hamilton, and Butch Jones fooled Dave Hart, and Jeremy Pruitt fooled Philip Fulmer.
Matt Dixon, do you have a particular, like, something that stands out to you in terms of just you want to introduce here as part of Freakring Thursday?
I don't yet, but my goal for the rest of the show is to come up with one. I'm gonna think about it, and I'm gonna have one for the third hour for sure.
865-200-5402. Do you have a nomination that rises to the level? Because this right here is a pretty big national story. A lot of people with egg on their face. It is what it is. We're at a university where I'll nominate one. I forget we had a president here one time, school president. They went through a string of presidents. You know, it's hard to believe with the Randy Boyd thing and what's going on right now with Donde and them. And sure, Donde kind of saddled up, and they sort of celebrated this Firkin guy, and they kind of pushed him to the moon, as they say in wrestling. But and God knows why, but they chose him and they pushed him and promoted him. But I would much rather have that and make a mistake like that and still have stable, competent leadership than have a guy who, the Knoxville News Sentinel, back in the day, went and through FOIA, got his emails. And in his emails, he was exchanging correspondence with a lady that lived here in town who appeared. What was the magazine called?
Metropulse?
No, it wasn't Metropulse. It was the one that you pay to be in. Why am I misremembering the name of that magazine? Somebody will remember this. Her name was Pamela something.
Pamela Reed.
Thank you.
Reed.
Pamela Reed. She's in Rose Petals. He says about her. He basically, I guess this is before the little blue pill. And he basically says, you are like a chocolate sundae that I can't eat. That's the kind of stuff that we went on here. And we had a string of those.
I mean,
presidents.
he was running the university. And you know what? He wasn't the worst one.
No.
I mean,
but that stands out to me because I enjoy stuff like that.
On this affair.
What's his name? What was his name? Do you remember? I think he was the guy from West Virginia.
Was it J. Wade Gilly?
I think he's the one from West Virginia. Randy J. Wade Gilly.
John Shoemaker.
Schumacher.
Schumacher.
Was he the China guy? The Shoemaker guy?
Yeah, he was. Listen. He was contracted by the university to establish a school in China.
Yes.
The project cost more than $300,000 and was never completed. He bought a grill at his home, at the president's home. I guess for entertainment purposes. He bought an outdoor grill. I mean, that's a reasonable purchase. Price tag, $4,822.
And that was like 20 years ago. That would be like in today's money, a $7,000 or $8,000 grill.
Well, it probably came from China.
Well, hey, Matt.
Yeah, that was a trade-off. That was a trade-off in setting up the school.
And he's the one, I don't want to mix my metaphors here, but I think he had like a babe in Birmingham that he would fly back and forth on this like private plane that the university would know about. This, I'm telling you, people.
He had pants heaters in his closet, like things you heat your pants up with.
That's exactly right, Brian. He's the guy with the pants heater. So
or something like that.
Freak Ring, you got some work to do, brah. You got some work. And I want people to nominate in the sports world, in the world around us here, things that just stand out to you that you just carry with you. Because we have had some crazy stuff happen around. I mean, crazy train things happen on and off the field. As we come back at 865-200-5402, whether it's a Butch Jones, shout out Butch Jones, whether it's whatever era, the Jerry Green era. I mean, we have had some really incredible fun times here, and I'm down with it. I like the news, the weather, traffic, and the sports. I like it all. We come back on the other side, 865-200-5402. I want to hear from you as we roll it back on the other side and continue after this.
Yes, Sabir on the TLD Logistics Hotline. Online at tldlogistics.com.
Whether it's baseball, football, softball, church groups, or schools, if you're raising money, do it with locally roasted Grade A Grounds coffee. I'm Billy Miller, a Vol alum and Knoxville native. You keep 40% of sales, and we donate 5% back to our East Tennessee community. Get started today by visiting our website at gradeagrounds.com.
If you haven't been to the brand new Covenant Health Park yet, what are you waiting for? There's so many incredible promotions still to come. First, you asked for it, so you got it. All You Can Eat Wednesdays is back. And how about Thirsty Thursdays with half-off draft beers? Or maybe Smokey's Version Night, 4th of July, Pete the Cat Day, or Christmas in July. Check out all the great upcoming promotions at SmokiesBaseball.com and grab your tickets now.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Peace of mind is priceless, especially when it comes to your home safety and your family's comfort. That's why the pros at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling created the Peace of Mind Maintenance Plan. Preventative maintenance for HVAC and plumbing is like changing your vehicle's oil, and experts recommend scheduling regular system checks to keep everything running smoothly. With Peace of Mind, you can safeguard your home from unexpected costly breakdowns and repairs. You'll get tons of benefits, including full system checks on HVAC and plumbing systems, water heater flushes, sewer camera inspection, 10% automatic discount on repairs, priority bookings, no service fees, and much more. Monthly service plans are as low as $20.25 per month, and total annual services are valued at over $1,500. Call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to sign up or schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit is free.
Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire. Basilio here for Budget Transmissions. TGMD, the great Matt Dixon, took his Ford Escape to budget, and like our Gold Bullet back in the day, it was a total mess. And now, Matt's back in the game. He's got a new transmission, axle, wheel bearing, both radiator hoses, engine mounts, coolant hoses. I mean, his Ford Escape was about to escape to the junkyard, but he didn't begrudge it. He took it to budget, and now he's on his way back to Omaha. Budget Transmissions, over 30 years in business, conveniently located in Bearden. All extended service contracts are honored. A gold certified Repair Pal member. 865-584-4391. 865-584-4391. Budget Transmissions. Don't begrudge it. Take it. It's a budget.
Hi there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, I've got good news for you. The East Tennessee and Knoxville areas are projected to have another strong year. I'll be happy to talk with you about the latest and greatest info you need. So give me a call at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon, and go Vols.
Tony B here with the great Zakai Ziegler for
Hey, whoa. Tony, I got this. Hey, Tennessee, it's Easy here. Next time you have an electric issue at your home or business, call my friends at Advent Electric. With offices in Knoxville and Nashville, it's Mama's Easy approved.
You heard it from the most electrifying player in the league. Call the service professionals at Advent Electric, 865-588-0631. Online, adventelectric.com. Tell them ZZ sent you. We like to stay with the themes here, you know. We stay with the themes. And today, on this Thursday, in honor of this freak ring guy. So I opened the show up and I said, you know, this kid just fooled the world, you know. And Tennessee wanted to believe it so badly. And the guy's, you know, I think I said something that got kind of misconstrued, so I'm gonna go back here on this, and then we're gonna go to Matt for his. And if you want to get in, 865-200-5402 on some of our favorite memories that we have that kind of rise to the level of when you open your thing and you go, what in the world? When you think about our place here, you just kind of go, what? And there have been a bunch of those times. Our coaches have made us do it. Our administrators have made us do it. But I want to read a message Brian got. Hey, Brian, tell Tony that you know a guy who owns a landscaping lawn care business. Me. And now he's as bad as Brian Rice calling out ditch diggers. Because I cut grass doesn't mean I'm not smart enough to run an NIL. I think I could easily do it. Just saying. Also, tell me he's met me before the next time I see him. I'm going to drop the stone cold stunner on him. First of all, what I said is this kid, Shannon Terry made him the head of his NIL, and he had his business experience was what to be doing that? What qualified him to do that? That's all I said. If I'm going to put somebody in charge of my NIL, he's going to be an attorney that's in that space. If I'm going to try to do but this kid, everybody just pushed this kid to the moon. I'm telling you, back in March. Look, I'm the son of a mushroom grower. Okay? My dad came home every night and had me in that mushroom house when I was a kid, smelling like compost. You know what compost is? It's horse manure. You know what horse manure is? I'll tell you in the third hour. It doesn't smell good. Everybody wanted to believe it with this kid. Donde Plowman was sitting with him at March in the NCAA tournament, him and Peyton Manning. I mean, this guy had the access now. He was an original on the Trailblazer Society. So, listen, here's the deal. Anybody gets up and works for an honest day's wage, I got time for you. I love you. I'm for you, not against you. Anybody that's out there ripping people off or attempting to, or attempting to allegedly scam people like it, I got no time for that. And we're going to make fun of it. Because I got no time for it. And I'm telling you, this thing here is a case of, if it looks too good to be true, I never understood it. I had people reach out from UT, man, you need to get this guy on. And my reply was, why? And I'm going to say this again. I hope it's not misconstrued. I know a lot of people in the summer that pay their way through college working their ass off cutting lawns. It wasn't just Grant Ferkring, okay? I never understood it. Tennessee was telling people that he had what was the number, guys? I said earlier, because I've already lost the number.
Something like 150 employees or something.
Yeah.
You said 143.
Okay. Does anybody listening to me believe that a college kid who's going to school, who's going to football practice, now I want somebody to think about this for 1 second, could own and operate a business and manage a business where they have 143 employees? Anybody that's in business think that's possible? With his own proprietary blend of straw, that I would love to see the formula for that stuff now that this has come to light. No offense to him. That story is phenomenal, and it fits into a tapestry around here of what in the world. This is like what in the world USA here. We have seen more what in the world stories here. I mean, just from that Pruitt era alone, what in the world university. But there are so many examples, and I want you to give me some. Press conferences, things people have done, things people have said. Crazy. What in the world are you thinking? Stuff that's gone on here. Matt Dixon, throw out a pitch, and then we'll go back to our phones.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it sports centric, but I mean this one's too good to pass up.
Yes.
You got the fraternity butt chugger about 10 years ago, which led to the greatest press conference I've ever seen, which had that entire frat looking like Secret Service agents up there around the torchbearer.
They're all out there in their Ray-Bans. They're all out there at a central casting for frat boys. Listen, no offense to you frat boys, you frat daddies. But you know who you are, and you know what you look like, and you all look the same. No offense. You look the same as you did like close to 40 years ago when I was on campus. No offense to you. I'm for you, not against you. Some of you could probably buy me and sell me 100 times. Don't go freaking out on me, okay? But you had your Ray-Bans on that day, and Matt Dixon's exactly right. Some of you might be listening right now. We will never, the living fan will never forget you, Matt, when they were there. And Matt, were they defending their brother? What were they saying about what was the context to that was, don't pull our charter just because our brother, frat brother.
No, they were denying it happened.
Oh.
Yeah, they were going after like UT Medical Center, UTPD, the media. It was just an all-time great press conference. After the show, I'm going to watch it in its entirety. I mean, I do that about 4 or 5 times a year anyway.
In honor of
today will be one of those days.
John, do you remember that? Do you recall when the frat daddies had their moment in the sun? Because apparently this kid drank a Boda box with his rear end.
I had forgotten about that, but when Matt brought it up, I started laughing.
John, would you call that enjoying your wine too much?
Yeah, I would call it a lot of other things too, but probably shouldn't say them.
Let's go back to our phones. Let's see if our living listener has any thing they would care to throw into the hopper today on a day where we celebrate Freak-ring Thursday. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Gino, Adam.
Now, let me tell you, this town is so bizarre that we have a caller who has been banned from every show known to mankind, but lives out there. He's like the Ernest T. Bass of our tapestry here, just adding to the bizarreness, the amount of characters we have here and stories. There could be a podcast on that guy, John.
I thought that was well timed.
Back to the phones we go. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, what's up, Tommy? Josh, you boy.
Hey, Josh, welcome in.
I really don't have a story I want to tell. Is that okay? If I
Sure, yeah, deviate. Go ahead, man. Go for it.
Okay. So, Matt, where can you find that? You said you're going to watch it after the show. Where can you find that I might be interested in watching?
Yeah, you need to tweet that out, Matt. At Matt Dixon 3 on his Twitter account. Matt, share that in honor of today. Where do you find it, Matt? Joshy Boy wants to know. That press conference.
Oh, it's on YouTube. Yeah.
Is it really?
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. And I've probably got 20% of the views.
Oh, nice. Hey, Tony, so what do you think about tonight? Stanley Cup Finals, Game 4, big game for Edmonton in Game 4 tonight. They don't want to go down 3-1. Do you think Connor McDavid and crew will be locked in for Game 4 tonight?
What's harder, them trying to get that game done tonight, or these guys that are playing that golf course right now out in Western Pennsylvania?
Playing this golf course
That's
right now.
brutal, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, my boy Mike Fidanza and those folks, they tricked that thing out to the nines. Nines. And anyway, tonight, if Edmonton loses, they're done. There is no coming back from that. They will not get to Game 7. They will go home. Florida is unbelievable. The first 2 games went to overtime. The last game, Florida beat them like they were mad at them, and Florida's really something in that building. And you know what they're bitching about in hockey?
What's that?
They're saying that the Florida teams have an advantage because they are a tax-free state. The income tax there, which should help the Nashville franchise, but the tax rates are so low in the state of Florida that all the hockey players want to sign up and play there, whereas tax rates in Canada are onerous by comparison, and it really has put the Canadian teams at a disadvantage. A lot of the hockey podcasts I listen to are talking about that, about how that has really allowed this Florida franchise to flourish.
You think that's laughable, or you?
No, I think that's legitimate. No, I think every wealthy person wants another dollar. John, does that make sense to you? That would help those franchises in that sport?
Yeah, something needs to help them.
Yeah. And Mr. John Adams, happy John Adams today. And my question for you is, sir, when do you guys usually do your Southeastern Conference college football preview, standings wise on the season?
When do we do our podcast?
No, your preview. Previewing the upcoming season. Your special issue.
Gosh, we don't do it like we used to. I mean, that was when we were a print product only, and we didn't have a website. Now everything's focused on the website. I mean, we'll probably have, just something a couple of weeks before the season, but it won't be. I mean, we did almost 100-page section, Peyton Manning's senior year.
Oh, wow.
Going into the 1997 season. It was
Isn't
about
that amazing?
100 pages.
Josh, isn't that amazing? I was just thinking about that.
That's really amazing, man.
And because I collect or go to whatever, I junk around, And so I find these old collectibles on the 85 team and the 98 team and the 1991 team and old newspaper inserts like what John's talking about. And John, those would have been printed when, John? When would those have been printed back in the day? What say the season starts late August. When would you guys have gone to press with that?
That would have probably come out maybe the Sunday before the season started. They came out with different dates, but a lot of work went into it. It was a lot of stories. I mean, we'd have a planning session. Yep. I used to do a lot of that. We just planned the whole section. But because and it's built on advertising. I mean, you had to have the advertising to do it. But when Peyton Manning going into Peyton's senior year, I think interest in Tennessee football was probably as high as it's ever been any time I've been here.
Now, John, do you still go to the SEC football media days or not anymore?
No, it's all on it's pretty much a SEC network production now, and it's all available on the web, all the interviews. It's not as though you can get anything outside of what's presented at the dais. So we still send our Tennessee beat guy, Adam Sparks, goes. Yeah. And Blake Totmeyer, since he's a college football columnist, will probably go. But I went to probably, 30 of those, more than 30, but not now.
John, did you ever do the old Skyriders thing, or was that before your day?
No, I started to I didn't do that. It kind of ended in the late 70s, and that was just about the last year. But they used to put writers from around the Southeast would get on this chartered flight, and they would go around the SEC. They would be in Oxford, Mississippi for a couple of days, in Starkville, in Baton Rouge.
Wow. Those guys were so cool. That's so cool, man. Cool. That's rock star, Josh, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Hey, Tony, out the door, I want to say something about the Ziggler. He got denied by the court, right? Just a few minutes ago. Yeah. I think I'm in the minority of the people that I'm not glad that he got denied, but I think it's time to move on and have new players in and stuff. But I do think Diego Pavia, he was a junior college transfer. That's why he got eligible of another year, right?
Yeah, but they're trying to roll him back too, because the NCAA knows this thing's a loophole, And Ziegler's counsel, they put a release out saying they're not stopping. I don't know what their next step is.
That's good.
In the process, but they're not going to stop.
And I think these players that want a fifth-year rule, every one of them should come together and go to the NCAA and say, we're not going to take it. We deserve a fifth-year rule because everybody is trying to get an extra year of eligibility. Have a good day.
Thank you. I think the NCAA's main concern here is, and what this judge didn't want to do, is open this thing up to a 6th or a 7th year. I think that's their main concern. Because I had people tell me that behind the scenes they were looking at this like the Kurt Flood case. If they get that, then all of a sudden the door is just going to open. And I'll tell you this, Marco, Zach, and those guys made a tremendously compelling argument for Ziegler. They really did. The way they framed that argument, those are some really, really, really sharp people that are in that kid's corner here. So, but yeah, the NCAA is trying to roll back the Pavia thing. They do not want that to stand either. Now, I don't know whether
Tony,
that happens.
We're not finished with this.
No.
I mean, this is...
No, I don't think this is done.
Yeah.
865-200-5402. It's kind of like Freak Ring Thursday. We're far from finished with that because it was 30 years ago I was on the air. I want to say 30 years ago. And there was a lady over there. I want to say her name was either Kristen or Kirsten Benson. Kristen, or why does that? And
Kirsten Benson.
And we had a phone scandal. Now, some of you have no idea what I'm talking about. Kids, check this out. When I was a student in school, first year at Penn State, and you had like friends that lived away or whatever, you had a friend in another city, you couldn't get on your phone and call them for nothing. There was a thing called long distance and long distance charges, and I am not kidding you here. And some people would have a phone bill. You could run up back then $150 phone bill calling people long distance. I remember calling my now wife and her father in the background going, 10 minutes! That's 10 minutes. Because everybody's all worried about long distance charges. And Matt, are you too young to remember the whole long distance thing, or do you remember that?
No, I remember that. It was still a thing in the 90s.
So Tennessee had a scandal, and I'm gonna tell myself here. I got a phone card when I was a freshman at Penn State off somebody who said, "Hey, take this card. You can just make calls on it." It's somebody's phone, and you're like, "Okay." I mean, okay, free phone calls, free long distance phone calls. And I was kind of fooling around with it at my house, and my dad one day goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "So-and-so." He said, "Dummy, if you make a call from that phone line, they can trace it back to our phone. You dummy." And I said, "Really?" And he said, how do you think this works?" I was a pretty smart guy, John. But apparently a bunch of Tennessee athletes at the time, I don't know what year that was, but that was one of those early on in my career times where I said, you know what? I love this place. I love this place because I love, and the way it just dripped out that summer, who all was involved. It was so many athletes and players, and it was such a big, it seems so innocent now. So innocent now. But trust me, these kids got, and then the NCAA was involved because is it an impermissible benefit? John, do you have any, well, we'll do this in the third hour as we're heading to our TLD Logistics Overdrive overtime. I got to ask John if he remembers that at all, like what he recalls about it. Hey, Lulu. If he recalls anything about it. But the number here is 865-200-5402. We'll put that up for nomination on Freak Ring Thursday. as I want to say to the radio listener, I love you, I appreciate you. GBO, check us out at tclub.team. Love.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
It's unbelievable, Andy. John, was that 95 or 94, do you think? 95, right?
It's TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime, presented by TLD Logistics. Online at tldlogistics.com.
John, what year was that? 95, 94. I had you muted. I'm sorry.
And now let's go to the guys with today's edition of TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime.
And it was a huge deal. Back then, everybody was so worried about impermissible benefits. And this, that, and the other. And it's a big NCAA scandal. The NCAA back then, to the young kids listening, was the big bad wolf, man. What were the particulars, John, of that? Do you remember anything about that as I bring it up here? Any of the particulars?
Yeah, it was a faculty member, a UT employee, and players, some athletes got her phone card and used her phone card over a period of time, and there were a lot of calls made to, and ran up a big bill. And so you're right, though. The thing about it, where the NCAA got involved, because impermissible benefits, special benefits for athletes that normal students didn't have. So there was that. And as you pointed out, back then, the NCAA had some teeth to it.
Yep.
Had a lot of investigators, and so that was concerned. And Tennessee's been already investigated for other things. So, yeah, that was a big deal. We got one story after another on that.
How? Like, what were the... I'm trying to remember, because I remember it was a big deal. I remember talking about it that summer. I remember we wrote a couple parody songs about it, including I'll Phone Home for Christmas. And she was worked into a song that ZR sung. ZR sang a song that went something like... Dashing through Gibbs Hall to the Student Life Center. There's Kirsten Benson's desk. There's no internal control. I remember those words 30 years later. It was part of a parody Christmas song that ZR sang. I think you could find that on YouTube. I know that MP3 has them somewhere. They're up on YouTube somewhere. You could find that. But was that her name, John? Am I remembering that properly? And what was she in like the athletic department, or where was she?
I was thinking Kirsten was involved with the maybe the tutoring department. Maybe that's where the athletes had quite a few tutors.
Maybe that's where Student Life Center came from.
Yeah. But that was yeah, I'm thinking around 94, but there was I can't remember what the penalties was. What I do remember, I remember going to a press conference, and we had all kind of questions. Kevin O'Neill was the basketball coach at the time.
I'd be 95. 95 then.
Okay. There was, I remember Kevin O'Neill, he said he specified penalties for like 30 student athletes who made unauthorized calls on the UT's telephone system.
Matt, how innocent is that? Let's think about this, Matt. This was a huge, John, am I lying? Huge controversy when it happened. How bored do we seem now, looking back on that, John, that we were all worked up about that? But the NCAA was the big, bad, gonna get ya. I mean, they had their own proprietary blend of bullshit back then. Not pine straw.
Yeah, there were some. I think there were some football players suspended for a couple of games going into the season.
I mean, imagine that.
And They lost their game tickets for the season.
Brian, do you remember that?
I don't remember that, but I'm just fascinated because think how easy it is to communicate with people nowadays. You don't even have to call them. You've got social media sites all over the place. You can text and all that. So, I mean, that's sort of pre-cell phone days.
Well, that was back in the day where when we did the show, and John knows this, I would do the show literally with a stack of papers in my hands. And that's what you went with that day. Once you jumped on the air, you had no way of checking or knowing. And when you got on the air back then, or when you were writing or whatever it was, you had to really, really dig. You had to really, or you just flew blind and made it up. But give me John, another time here where I just kind of said, this can't be happening. You and I were talking one time, this is before we were working together, and that crazy Davenport lady, you had asked me we were comparing notes on her, and one of these people in town told me, they said, I just went to a mixer with this lady, or she was at this thing with the boosters. And this lady, do you remember that, John? You and I laughing. They were like, she is going to be a total disaster.
Yeah, I do. She only lasted about a year because she's the one that fired John Curry when he was in the middle of the coaching search, and then appointed Philip Fulmer to athletic director, and that just came out of nowhere, and that led to the Jeremy Pruitt Babygate scandal, Babysittergate scandal.
But the Shiano Sunday thing, that guy was never going to survive, and Fulmer was already positioned there. See, Fulmer's in a couple of these, because another thing where, John, help me out here. Go ahead, Bri.
Didn't she block the Shiano hire by not signing something that would have enabled him to be hired? So she does get partial credit. She does get some credit.
I think that's right. And I think the big boosters also, it wasn't her that did the coup. I think it was several boosters that just said, hey, that's enough of this guy. Because that's how that stuff works anyway. But, John, that press conference she had with John Curry, where they were up there with that funeral spray, well, I'll call it, those flowers, and those... Matt, do you remember the images that came out of that looked like they were both singing a duet together when they were both holding that microphone?
Yes, that was...
Stuff you can't make up, y'all. The iconic images coming out of that thing.
But when you think about it, Tony, that was like one, in biblical terms, one scandal begetting another, because with the Shiano and the coaching search fiasco that John Curry was involved with, and then Philip Fulmer sort of sneaking in there and getting the confidence of Bev Davenport.
He did, yep.
And remember, John Curry, he'd stumbled along the way, and the Shiano thing was a disaster. However, he was out there talking to Mike Leach,
which I think would have been.
He might have hired Mike Leach,
which I thought was going to be a disaster at that time. But here's
I don't think.
Well, he hired Tony Vitello and he hired Chris Woodruff. So
pretty good track record.
Yeah, I'd say his hiring record's better than Fulmer's. Who did Fulmer hire, Bri, during his time? He would have hired.
He hired the volleyball coach, right?
Eve Rackham.
That's so good right now.
Yeah, that's a pretty good hire.
And Kelly Jolly, we thought was not a bad hire, but that didn't work out. So
she keeps getting work. She back in the SEC. I want her agent. John, let's go to a couple press conferences, and then we'll go back to our phones. One that comes to mind that a lot of people are not going to remember, but I was on the air at the time, and I could not, for the life of me, believe it. Matt, do you remember the press conference when Doug Dickey called a press conference, midday press conference, to announce that Tony Harris was not a punk? Or are you too young for that?
No, I remember it happening and it being talked about. I don't remember anything about the actual press conference, but I know what it is. Yeah.
It's one of the. John, what do you recall about the Tony Harris, who we've had on the air here, who's a great guy, helps a lot of kids in Memphis? Tony, I love you. But that day was one of the most insane, again, where I said to myself, I love this damn place.
It was Tony Harris, as I recall, was suspended.
No.
Or something.
It's better than that. He was injured.
Oh, he was injured?
And he was on the bench.
So he was okay.
But he came off the bench when
he was sitting on the bench in street clothes, and there was an incident in the game. Yes. And Tony ran down there. He got involved in it.
So it was one of the greatest things. I think it was Kentucky, right? It was Kentucky, I think.
It was a high-profile game. Yeah. I didn't remember it was Kentucky, but I was at the game writing a column, and a dear friend and colleague, Gary Lundy, was there also writing a column. And Gary, he wrote this column about Tony Harris's actions, like what was this guy doing? It's a great column, as most of Gary's columns were. And anyway, so Gary wrote it. He said right after he'd written, he said, "Hey, John, would you take a look at this? I want to make sure it was it's okay. It's not too strong." And I never thought anything was too strong. So, and he knew that when he asked me. So anyway, I read through it and thought it was great and said, "Yeah, go with it. No problems here." And so, yeah, he called Tony Harris a punk in it. Doug Dickey then the next day called a press conference. He was the AD at the time, and he took up for Tony Harris and basically ripped into Gary Lundy. But as I recall, Doug wasn't really into this. I think he felt like it was a thing he needed to do, but he was well-spoken for the most part. But in that one, I just remember writing the line about it because I got a column out of that. His response was, the words seemed to be just tumbling out of his mouth. I mean, it just was defending this was and criticizing Gary's column was just kind of a foolhardy venture, and he should never have done it. He should have let it go, and that's how he normally handles stuff. That was uncharacteristic of Doug Dickey to react that way to so. He just let it go.
But it just fits the pattern here.
Criticism didn't bother him.
No, it just fit the pattern here, though.
Yeah, I could rip him in a column and call him up the next day, and he'd call me back. Mm-hmm. I really admired that. That in him, and he just knew how things work. And I don't know why he got off on that and why he reacted as he did, but yeah, so what he did by doing that, he just prolonged the story. Just let it go, let it die, and move on, but that prolonged the story. So it was a really bizarre press conference. And I just remember Doug Dickey speaking. He's very confident in his job, and he just wasn't confident in that role.
That day he looked like, I don't really want to be here. But he looked into the microphone and he goes, "I got something to say." And I think he called Lundy. I think he said he's a punk or something to that effect, right? Didn't he? He called him out. He said, "I'll tell you the punk."
He was really. Because that was that was all you could do is kind of attack the messenger there. And Gary was a messenger. And I just remember laughing a lot with Gary.
I loved it.
About the whole thing. I loved it.
Matt, do you remember that at all? Because I'm trying to remember what year that would have been. That got to be late 90s.
Yeah, it was like 99, 2000. I remember it happening and it being talked about, and because it was kind of a big news story around town.
It's huge.
Yeah, because Harris was too injured to play, but he was pretty dang quick getting off the bench to go when there was
he got miraculous. He got ye healed, as we say in the trade. I mean, he came off that bench like a tour de force. Okay, which is adrenaline. I'm sure, right? I love Tony Harris, a great player here, and a really, really great dude. But a footnote to these kind of stories like this freak ring thing that kind of hang around, because you're going down the highway and in your windshield are a million stories. A few things, though, stick to that windshield down through the course of time. Help us ferret some of those out here as we talk about it in our TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime on a Freak Ring Thursday. Hello and welcome in.
Well, I've got two of them.
All right.
One of them sort of pretty more recent, the Pruitt era. The other one being just the crazy story and what that was of Jack Sells sending that playbook down to Ron Zook.
Yes! Yes!
It was just like you got more and more details as time went on. The FedEx guy calls up, Mike Keith, I think it was, right, to tell him.
Mike broke that story. That's exactly right. And it was the Kinko's on Cumberland Avenue. I was coming back into town from Pennsylvania, driving in my old, want to say it was a Chevrolet Celebrity station wagon. And back then you had to consume things on the radio. Today, I mean, it's, the radio, it's kind of like John was talking about the papers. The radio deal now today is, it's almost a fool's errand playing around with that. I mean, it's still there, but back then, Goldbrick, when Mike Keith broke that story, that was huge news. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. It was Cumberland Avenue, and somebody that saw it, right, gave him the tip. What was the story there? I had to get Mike on and ask him about that.
I just remember. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, John. Sorry.
Well, I was just remembering Jack Sales had been fired. Keep in mind, he was on Tennessee South, but
for recruiting violations.
He was fired for recruiting violations prior to that season. And he faxed pages from UT's football playbook to his friend Ron Zook, who was then Steve Spurrier's, maybe his defensive coordinator. I think he was the defensive coordinator at the time. He held different positions there at Florida. And they were faxed from a Kinko's copy store on Cumberland Avenue, as Tony said. Zook denied the faxing, but reporters found a copy of a fax cover sheet at Kinko's. And so that was the story. A Kinko's employee recognized Sells and stopped the transmission. So it was after 10 to 15 pages, so he didn't fax the whole thing. But a Kinko's employee called the UT athletic department to let them know that this guy was faxing he was kind of heads up, must have been a football fan. He noticed that, and he alerted UT to what was going on.
That's what led to burner phones.
Sells later sued Kinko's. They settled a lawsuit in 95, 4 years later.
The other one that I was thinking of was Moose. All the text messages and stuff that came out of that stuff with Moose Johnson or whatever. What was his name? The recruiter guy that was with Pruitt. And then about
Brian
Niedermeyer.
Yeah.
His debit, he was still using like his parents' debit card or something, and all those text messages started coming out about all that money that he was spending.
That's another scam or fraud that everybody bought.
And he was named wasn't he the National Recruiter of the Year?
Yeah, he was.
Uh-huh.
Another thing where that's what money will get you, I guess, before it was actually in there.
Well, who was the guy, Matt, as part of that whole, because Matt calls those people the Hoover Mafia, which we could do a full show on the Hoover Mafia one day on here in the summer. Who was the coach, Matt, that went at our fans one night and said, y'all don't even understand football? You're from Tennessee. I'm from Alabama.
Stiff.
Who was it?
Danny Stiff.
Danny Stiff.
John, do you remember a guy by the name of Coach Stiff, which he's never been more appropriately named?
Stiff. Golly, no, I don't remember him.
See? He went at our fans. Matt, that is true, right? He went at our fans online. Like, you don't understand, you don't know, quit questioning us.
Yeah.
Who are you?
And In a crazy world, he is now the recruiting coordinator for Murray State football.
Yes! Danny freaking Steph. Makes me proud to know you, brah. Goldie, those are great memories. That's good stuff, Goldie.
Those are two good ones.
That's and that's the kind of stuff we love, for living here. And from doing what you do, what Goldie does in the Uber world, that this place is just so full of characters, man. I mean, characters are welcome here. And our local sports produces, John, I'm not going to be myopic here in saying this because everybody has kind of their stuff, but this place seems to, for a medium to large size place, produce more than its fair share, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've been really fortunate being a columnist here because there's been a lot to comment on. And you can appreciate that as a long-time talk show host. It was actually very similar in when I was in Baton Rouge for 5 years, what I had to work with there and all the things that happened. There were some scandals there. You had Dale Brown, total wackos, basketball coach, all that kind of stuff. And I thought I was there for 5 years when I left, took a job in Pittsburgh, and I thought, as a columnist, I'll never have as fertile of feel for columns here anywhere else than I did during that time frame in Baton Rouge. And then I came here to Knoxville, and it was even better.
It's crazy here, man.
Think about it. Think about it. When you had Butch Jones as your coach, as a talk show host or as a columnist, and you got Butch Jones saying stuff like 5-star hearts and champions of life.
Greatest thing ever. Champions of Life Day.
Falling on his head in the locker room and injuring himself.
I'll never forget this, Matt. Bino put his headphone down, and he goes, Champions of Life. He goes, that's some stupid shit. During our break. During our break, Butch Jones. You just want to be proud of your football program, Matt. And we had Butch Jones here.
A lot of 6'3" effort.
Yeah, 63 strain was the give three great efforts in a 6-second period, which is humanly impossible, but I just never could understand. I don't know why I didn't call it 36 strain, 3 seconds. I mean, 3 efforts in 6 seconds, but he went with 63. But to go from him, I mean, you think, well, nothing's going to top this, or nothing will lower the bar lower than this. And then you hired Jeremy Pruitt, and what's the first story I heard about him? I ain't never heard of asparagus.
Back to our phones we go if you want to get in the hunt and in the mix with us. As we're talking about, in the spirit of this Furking thing, which can only happen here. I don't even know what to say about the Furking thing. I mean, it's utterly bizarre. Back to the phones we go. I'm glad the media has exposed it because it will stop it from happening. Hopefully. Hello and welcome into our next call. You're on the air.
How my friends compatriots today?
Doing great. Go ahead, ma'am.
I've got 2 stories. The first one is the great Minnie Pearl chicken scandal with Doug Dickey in 1969. Have you ever heard of that?
The what story, W. Lynn?
Minnie Pearl chicken. It was supposed to replace Colonel Sanders and Kentucky Fried Chicken. Minnie Pearl chicken.
Really?
Doug Dickey was in on it with some people, locals. I'm sure some of them were UT connected, UT fans. It started falling flat on its face during the 1969 season, which we rose up to number 3 in the rankings before the Jackson massacre against Ole Miss. And they knew it was hitting bottom. And Doug, I've got this from reliable sources. Most passed away now. Doug Dickey was selling stock to old ladies using up their entire savings, knowing this was going to bust. just getting what he could get. And then he got on the get out of town plan after the 1969 season. And you put 2 and 2 together. And then why he was hired in 85? This is a W-Lane conspiracy. There must have been some people involved with him doing that were prominent or high-powered in the UT system. That's the only reason I could ever figure it. He had something on them. That's why they hired him back. Manny Pearl Chicken. He ruined a lot of people's lives around here.
Really?
I've never heard of that. Have you, John? In my whole life, I've never heard of that.
Was that the Shackley thing?
No,
No,
that's another
that
thing.
was in the 80s. I'm talking about 1969 when he bailed out unexpectedly.
John, what was the Shackley thing? What was that? That was some kind of nutrition
Doug
shake?
Dickey's wife was involved with Shackley products, selling this like chocolate shakes and things, and selling them, I think, to university employees.
I love this place.
They were setting it up in Gibbs Hall, John. It was going to be a university everything.
I love this place. I love the 80s.
So what
Plus,
was
he went
that
out,
about Gibbs
he went
Hall?
out on a boat with some of his best friends, and I think his wife broke her leg during a storm. He sued his best friend because he didn't check the weather report good enough. That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, I remember that. His wife was injured.
But that's why I every time I passed him in the press box, he just looked at me like I was dirt. I mean, I've been working for Bud and Haywood for 3 years, and he goes, "And what do you actually do up here?" It sounded like something Derek Dooley might say. But I never had any use for the guy.
Why did he say that? What provoked that?
Nothing. I was just walking by, going to my post where I was helping a radio station, and I was in the outside part of the way the press box was, to get to the elevator, and he just walked by me, and I said, "How you doing, Coach Dickey?" And he said, "What are you doing here? What do you actually do?"
Oh, hey, John, it sounds like W. Lim is president and founding member of the Dickey fan club. What do you think?
Yeah,
there's definitely a bond there. But this happened in the late 80s. It came out. Doug Dickey, his wife owned a Shackley distributorship.
Yeah.
And she was doing business with UT product. She was doing business with UT. She was selling her products to UT. And then she had someone else who was a former student athlete at UT.
Yes. They were double dipping, as we say in the trade. They were double dip. Hey, Matt, did you ever hear of the Shackley thing? Have you ever heard of that?
I have not. No.
You're under wing now. You're under wing. It's good UT
Check
history.
into the Minnie Pearl thing. I don't know if there's much out there on the internet about it.
Now answer me a question. Was Minnie Pearl's chicken any good, W. Lynn? Did you ever try it? And was it as good as Kenny Rogers'
I think
Roasters?
I might have tried it once. It didn't last long. And
what about Kenny Rogers' Roasters? Did you guys ever try that?
No, I never tried any of that. No.
Brian, how about you? There was a Kenny Rogers Roasters here. Did you ever try it, Brian?
Yeah, Kenny Rogers Roasters was very good the one time I tried it. I was out in L.A., I think, and we were on a trip out there. And I thought, damn, I wish they had more of those around here.
W. Lynn, you're the man.
I got a long-distance phone call story if you got time.
Hit it.
In the old Kappa Alpha Order House over there by the baseball right field, we had a house phone in the hall where you could not dial out. All you could do was answer it. But if you picked the phone up and banged down on the hook, like 10 or 12 times, you could get an operator and then call out. But
was that Sarah from Mayberry?
Secret. What's that?
Sarah from Mayberry.
Yeah, just like that. So in the summer, we called it the Hotel Kappa Alpha because we had to rent out to outsiders to make money just to stay on campus. I mean, so we had people in there we didn't know living in the summer, and me and a few people would kind of hang out and try to watch stuff. But one time we got this, after the summer session was over, we got a $4,000 phone bill, and there was a guy from India that was living in there, and he figured out how to use that phone and was making long-distance calls to India in the 70s all summer long.
John
and the bill
Adams,
didn't come.
$4,000, John, in 1975 is worth how much today?
$4,000.
Thank you, W.
Probably many times over. I'm really glad W. Lynn brought up that, because I'd forgotten about Shackley Products. That was actually a pretty
great
big deal.
scandal. That's a great scandal.
There were talks that Doug Dickey was going to lose his job over that.
I was on campus then as a student. I want to say that was like 88, 89, 90, somewhere in that neighborhood. John, does that sound right to you?
Yeah, right in there. And there was a 15-month audit. There was an audit that was released over this. And so, yeah, it was a serious deal.
Matt, is your pop a big Doug Dickey guy? Because there are a lot of people that have heat with Dickey with the way that he left and the whole deal.
No, he was not a big fan.
There's a lot of people that hate the guy. It's kind of interesting. Because
he knew how to keep the NCAA away, though.
When I first got my gig here, the old timers would walk up to me and say, "You give him hell." I was like, "Okay, what does that mean?" "Stay after that Dickey guy." I'm like, "Okay, I guess." And it was all about the way he left that game, or after the and then he was really the first guy that ushered in the whole pay-for-play thing, John, right? With the guy that's his henchman beside him back then was a young Mitch Barnhart. It's kind of his flunky back then. Do you remember that, John?
Yeah. There was actually, I was just checking this out. I Googled it, and the old Knoxville Journal, they were in the same building with us when I first came here. Knoxville had 2 daily newspapers. We subsequently merged. But the Knoxville Journal had an editorial calling for Doug Dickey to resign over that Shackley stuff.
Let's go. Who wrote that?
It just was an editorial. I don't know who the editorial writer was, but it was that when an editorial, that was sort of the voice of the
paper. I
see.
Yeah. Back to the phones we go. Hello and welcome into our next call on the TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime as we talk about, in the spirit of this Furkring thing, which is just a bizarre story. We look back at some of the other bizarre things that have gone on here. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, Tony. Uncle Orange here. If Adam Sparks does make a mini-series out of it, let's just call it The Straw Man. And as far as the Shackley thing, that was right after he got us out of the woods on the end that those infractions committed mostly by Jack Sells. So right after we had, survived major sanctions was when that Shackley stuff came up. And I think it was only about 11, it was less than $20,000 of revenue over the whole thing. That's the thing that was so silly about it, as I recall. And also on the thing that's the funniest thing about that phone scandal back in '95, I believe it was most of the calls were made to a 900 number. Do you remember that? Little tidbit.
What were the 900 numbers back then? Were they like sex numbers, John? Is that right? Back then?
Yeah, they were made to
phone
psychics, I think.
Sex phone services in Europe.
Mm-hmm. What did you say, Brian? Brian, what did you say?
They were I think they were like this Miss Cleo psychic lady was on the other end of those.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Matt. Do you think they were calling Miss Cleo, or do you think they were calling phone sex, the football players? Matt, where are you going?
The football players had no clue who Miss Cleo was.
Yeah, and I think it was
if
Jason
you were
Parker
here's
who
what I
actually got a
wondered, though.
suspension.
If you're calling a phone sex service in Europe, can the person on the other end speak English?
It was Jason Parker, wasn't it? It was his were so egregious that I think he had to sit out the following season.
See, I don't remember any of that.
They had some players that were suspended for a game or two. I don't think anybody was suspended more than four games. Philip Fulmer wasn't real big on suspending players from meaningful games. But there were some suspensions, and I remember Kevin O'Neill suspended players for a couple of preseason exhibition games.
John, I wanted to throw this out there too. The best column I've ever read in any publication was "Test Your Knowledge About Tennessee's Upcoming Opponent," and I don't know how many years you did that, but that was gold, man. If you have a collection of all of those and wanted to bind it into a book, I'd buy the first autograph copy.
Wow, what a
That's
compliment!
nice of you. Yeah, I don't hold on to stuff. I did that for a few years, but I was kind of, and I had a kind of absurd trivia question as in answers. But the country music singer Bill Anderson, Whispering Bill Anderson, I think was his nickname. I had him in a Georgia trivia contest, and he actually called me on the phone and said he liked the column.
Wow, that's cool.
It was a beauty.
I thought it was.
Hey, thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, this is you're under wings right now. We're all going under wings here. Yeah, back then, things that seemed so big just kind of weren't. But at the time, they seemed like such a big deal. The whole NCAA thing and the way it sat over these sports, and you were just always afraid they were going to come on your campus. John, what was the lady's name? And Brian, you guys will all remember this. The lady's name that kind of waged war on UT academically.
Linda Benzel-Myers.
Linda Benzel-Myers.
Where is she now, John? Any idea? And when was that?
No, I remember her being in Colorado the last time I checked. I don't know where she is now.
Was that like 20 years ago? Because UT was trying to remake itself or whatever they were doing?
Yeah, yeah, I tell you what, we were talking about Doug Dickey. One of the great things Doug Dickey did is he got Tennessee out of a lot of predicaments with the NCAA, and he was really good about reporting minor violations. He kind of won the NCAA over with his vigilance, because I thought there were times where Tennessee probably was going to really get hammered by the NCAA, and it never did, and I give Doug Dickey a lot of credit for that.
Back
the way
to
he managed it.
And so does W. Lynn, because he's one of Doug Dickey's staunchest supporters to this day. Back to our phones we go. I mean, he called Doug Dickey everything but an Italian on here about 15 minutes ago. Hello and welcome into our next call. You're on the air. Hello, next caller. Let's try this again. Hello, welcome in. You're on the TLD Logistics phone line. Hi. All right, let's go to our next call. As in the honor of, we're kind of looking back on some of the past crazy scandals here. In honor of this thing that broke today, that Adam Sparks broke, along with Mike Wilson, and that is a hell of a job of reporting by those two guys to get that much stuff into that
Tyler
story.
Whetstone was involved in that.
And Tyler
too,
Whetstone.
Newside reporter.
Shout out to all three of those guys. Hello and welcome into our next call. You're on the air.
Tony, the Red Rooster calling.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, two quick stories. One for you on a complimentary side, and another, my days dealing with technology back in the day at Austin Peay State University in the athletic department. I I'm just now coming off, Tony. Shout out to the Nova Turkey Creek surgical team, a major surgery. About 2 days into my rehab, I'm laying there in bed, and I decided to get on the app and listen to the Tony Basilio show to kind of get my spirits up just a little bit and laugh a little bit. One of the doctors walked in and goes, what's he doing? I mean, and that guy said, what's he listening to? That doctor said, he's listening to that idiot Basilio. I said, what a great compliment for Tony Basilio.
That's awesome.
I bet he'd love that.
Thank you, and shout out to that doctor. Appreciate you listening as well, sir.
He told me later on down in the week that he listens on a daily basis. What do you think about that?
There you go. I love it, man. Thank you.
My second story, Tony. I was in the athletic department at Austin Peay State University. One of the recruiting perks I got was back in the day when they had Watts line. Do you remember the WATS line, Watts line?
Refresh my memory on a Watts line.
It's basically you dial 1-800 anywhere in the world, and we were on the assumption that it didn't ring up minutes, it didn't ring up limitations. You could call and sit there and talk to Tony Basilio in Philadelphia for 48 hours, and it'd be under one price. Well, I quickly found out, of course, I got down there to Clarksville. I was homesick. I was calling in Friday night listening to the football show, ball game on our local radio. I was calling my girlfriend. I was calling my parents. I was calling my friends. And I swear I must have rung up a bill that was, which leads to the finale of my story. The athletic director called the head basketball coach in and goes, I need to see you and, in this case, the Red Rooster in my office in 30 minutes. I walked in, Tony, to the president of the Austin Peay State University's office, and there was a stack of papers there, Tony. It looked like a ream of paper that had not been opened. And it was all the calls I made in a 30-day period, totaling up to $7,000 plus dollars.
Oh my gosh!
We're back in the 90s, in the 80s now, Tony. My heart fell in my stomach. Says, call your parents right now and tell them that you're now off athletic scholarship. The coach says, I didn't realize I didn't know there was limitations. So here I am, a 19-year-older that just left UT when Don DeVoe came, went to Austin Peay, and the first thing I do was ring up almost an $8,000 Watts line bill.
And that was because you wanted to listen to UT basketball and UT sporting
I wanted
events.
to listen to everything back home. I felt like I was in Slovakia, being in Clarksville, Tennessee. I was so far away from my home here in East Tennessee. But anything I could call or somebody I could talk to ease the burden of being homesick, I did it. And $8,000 later, the loss of a scholarship, that's what happened.
Thank you, my brother. That's great stuff right there. That's sorry that happened to you, too. And I hope you feel better. I hope you get better. And good luck on your recovery. And thank you for sharing with us. 865-200-5402. John, I cannot believe nobody called in today to share one of my favorite press conferences ever, where I knew I love this place. Because it ended with Debbie Jennings, who I call Ma, calling out the Tennessee's head basketball coach at the time. John, help me out. When Dave Hart had his War on Women, and they all went up there and sang for their supper and talked about what a great man he was. Do you remember the Dave Hart War on Women press conference, John?
Gosh, I think there was more than one. Was this the one where all the coaches were there?
Yes.
And they all talked about what great camaraderie there was within the athletic department?
Yes.
That was so bizarre. It was like Stepford coaches.
It was one of my favorite. And then the Lady Vol on Lady Vol crime that resulted in that. I mean, I'm sorry. I loved every minute of it. I'm for it, not against it. I was just like, I love this place. I love this place. Who do you think, why would Dave Hart, where did that come from, John? We got to get rid of the Lady Vol brand for everybody. Where did that come from? And we're going to keep it with the basketball.
They were going to keep it for women's basketball.
And we're going to keep it for basketball.
Nothing else. because Pat, they didn't want to, because Pat was still with us at that time.
An all-out war on the women. Just a war on them.
He would have, if it hadn't been for Pat Summitt being there, then he would have just done away with the Lady Vols name. But he couldn't do it with Pat Summitt there, so he just did it for all other sports. So that meant your women athletic teams had two different names. They were Vols or Lady Vols. It was so mindless and so unnecessary. I mean, why do that? All the challenges you have in that position as an AD don't court trouble, which is exactly what he did. I think it ultimately led to his departure.
I agree with that. Matt, you were going to add about that. What do you remember about? Because I remember on Facebook, that Jennings lady wrote a thing about calling Holly Warlick a total sellout. It was one of the more when you're doing what I'm doing, you watch things like that and you just go, well, there's a show topic, there's a show topic, and there's a show topic, and there's a show topic. I mean, this place is just, it's organic here. But you were going to add, Matt. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think part of it was there was like a separate women's athletic department that they were kind of consolidating and combining into just one. And the other one is, I think I was right when Tennessee made the move to Nike, ironically. And I want to say it was a branding deal that Nike suggested that they kind of fall under, the one logo, one brand kind of deal. I think that played a part in it as well.
That's interesting. You led me into something else, though, because Tennessee has these fits and starts initiatives, because they kind of quickly abandoned that. John, what's the lady's name that Dave Hart, because Dave Hart could have his own wing in this thing, put in charge of? And see, here's the crazy thing about Dave Hart. He brought Rick Barnes here. John Curry. He brought Tony Vols here. These two guys are smoking hot.
Don't you think with Rick Barnes, that kind of just fell into Dave Hart's lap?
But he took advantage of it.
Well,
before anybody else did.
Yeah,
right?
he gets credit for that because and just as John Curry should get a lot of credit for hiring Tony Vitello.
It's bizarre. Okay, how about this one? Who is the woman that did the first Tennessee Hall of Fame class? Their internal Hall of Fame thing they started under him, the initiative. And
Donna Thomas.
Thank you. And Brian, who was not in the first?
That would have been General Robert E. Nealon. Regular season Robert.
And the reason, John, is that woman decided that you had to have an equal number of Lady Vols and Vols. Because in her world, I don't know, General Nealon wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. And what did Bino's brother Fab Five Freddy call and say at the time about that, Brian? Let's see if you remember.
He said that would be like having a Christian Hall of Fame that would include Tammy Faye Baker and would omit Jesus.
John, this is this place. John,
Tony,
do we love this place, John?
I got to go, though, Tony. I got to do that SEC podcast, SEC Unfiltered, on our website.
John, love you. It's as good a time as any to cut it off because today's Laura's birthday and I got to get off the air. Matt, do you
Tell her, hey,
Happy
I
birthday.
never have got her. I need her debit card number for that Pine Straw I'm sending you guys.
Yeah. It's a proprietary blend straight out of Louisiana.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can square bales, round bales. We'll have the bales shaped like the
Ray
animal
bales
of your choice.
Ray Bales. Thank you, John.
Just get that debit card to me, okay?
And I want to thank John Adams, who's presented by Jennifer Morris, Next Move, SmokyMountains.com. If you're buying or selling your home, don't you dare do it without her. Matt, did you what did you think of Adams getting through here today without mentioning LSU like 4 times?
A little surprising.
Yep.
I guess he thinks they're going to have maybe a 2-week stay in Omaha, so he'll be able to bring them up next week.
Brian asked earlier, who stays, them or Arkansas? Who stays longer?
I think Arkansas is the better team. So, and that they hammer left-handed pitching as they did against Liam Doyle. I think they get the Cade Anderson there in Game 1, which would make them the overwhelming favorite to win it all.
Did I mess up by not asking Tony some of those questions, or did I do the right thing by pivoting off the season once I saw where he was going?
Well, you thought he only had 15 minutes.
And I thought we only had 15 minutes.
And, well, it turns out you had almost 3 times that much.
What do you think, Matt?
No, your ability to interview people and do things in the moment are one of your better skills on the radio. So I think you got him to open up and say some stuff that, hey, you normally wouldn't say. So I think that was a win.
As somebody
sometimes you have to go off script.
Hey, Matt, as somebody that covered the team, what was most interesting to you of what he revealed yesterday?
Probably the stuff that they saw some things in the fall that they thought would be an issue and they wound up being an issue. Talking about the emotions of the deal and how at times they weren't emotional enough. But that's probably it. I thought it was encouraging that he kind of brought up Tegan Kuhn's on his own.
Yeah, I think I did too.
How he thinks the guy's going to be a big leaguer. If there was a chance the guy was leaving, I don't think he would have said that or volunteered that because it wasn't like you were talking about him.
And I meant to ask him. That's one thing I wrote down. Did you guys shut him down? Which I should have asked him. And I apologize for that to those listening because I made a little note on Kuhn's. Did you shut him down? It's sitting right here, and I neglected to get back to it because he went past it. It was so quick yesterday, and he went past it. Just to ask you one other thing about that thing yesterday. What game was he talking about, Matt, when he said that he did not, a team basically punked them and they sort of didn't respond to it? And he said it was in their building. Now, unfortunately for us, unfortunately for us this year, there's like 4 or 5 of those. But which one do you think was the one that? Because he said at that point we knew we had to approach this group differently. This was not going to be the group we thought.
I think it was the A&M game, the Saturday doubleheader.
Okay. But you, Matt?
I'll answer because I kind of got that feeling after that Sunday Kentucky game where Kentucky beat them in the rubber game and Tennessee didn't put up much fight despite all the dugout antics and all that stuff. They were kind of lifeless that day. That's when it hit me that this team wasn't quite gonna reach its potential and had that it factor. Was the Sunday Kentucky game. That's when it was for me. I don't know if that's the one for him, but that would be my answer to that question. Is that was the game that it kind of turned for me.
I was in here with Heflin. Of all the games all year that ran all over him, that was the one. Because I asked Will the other day, Will, you glad you did that? He goes, oh. Because I was really glad at first because I thought the season was going to be great. And then he said, then I sat in here and watched us lose 6 or 7 series, and I thought, did Basilio do this to me because he doesn't like me and it's a cruel joke? Or, I'll tell you this about him. He cares. Because that day with the Kentucky game, Matt, he was in here watching that. We're watching the last. He goes, we're going to get run rolled by these clowns. Well, that's not what he said, but you can imagine what he said. And he had damn smoke coming out of his ears, Matt. Because those guys in this era are not used to that. You can lose games, but it's a way that team this year lost. And they still figured out a way to get to a super regional. But Heflin had a really good point, Matt. The reason you really didn't have an opportunity at Arkansas last weekend was because this team just wasn't good enough. Because if they were, they would have knocked out that wobbly, playing out of the loser's bracket Wake team on Sunday night. And that's the truth.
Correct. Yeah, because that affected all that.
It set it all up. It set it all up.
Yeah, because you had the whole Doyle, and he clearly wasn't 100%. Yeah, all that. Yeah.
And a couple of my buddies on text chains, I didn't hear from you yesterday. Maybe you will as you visit with that interview. But I asked Tony, because some of you told me, oh, no, he would go out and get him, or he would let him pitch. I said, Tony, settle a bet for me. The Doyle thing, 4th inning. Matt, were you surprised he said I should have gone and gotten him sooner? That surprise you?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Because I still think I would have liked to see to at least get a chance to work out of it. You never know, because I mean, at that point, obviously you don't get a game 3 if you don't win game 2.
Right.
But if you pull Doyle there in the 4th inning, in your mind, like I don't really think there's a big difference between losing game 2 or game 3. Like you have to win both of them. And that's a whole lot of outs that you're going to have to rely on unreliable arms to get over a 2-game span. But there was no real right answer there.
When you made the decision to go that route and pull him out of the game there, you almost had to have one of those relievers, those long relievers, give you 100-pitch effort if you were going to have a chance in a game 3, right?
Tennessee had it at the U.S. Open.
There you go. Yeah, Simpson kid. Yeah, isn't that cool?
No, I mean in the gallery. They did. I just happened to look up at.
Oh, a Tennessee hat. Well, there's a Tennessee kid playing in that thing. Simpson kid
in the front. Yeah, standing in the front row of the gallery with the hat on.
There you go. It stands out like a sore thumb. Matt, thank you. Brian Hartman, thank you. Great job, guys. Appreciate both of you. Check us out over at tclub.team. Thrody will have a full report in the morning. Very eventful day with the Zakai Ziggler news. And also, as drips and drabs of the Freak Ring Thursday continue, I want to give a special shout-out to my friends. We had a great parlay up there today with Fleetwood and Auberg and a couple other guys. I'm going to put together a pick 3 for the College World Series this weekend, or a parlay tying in some of these different sporting events from the weekend I'll have for the morning. But shout out to my friends at VIP Play. Go claim your welcome bonus of $100 in bonus bets instantly when you bet $5. Promo code is TNTony. Again, TNTony. And remember, the VIP Players Club sweepstakes a couple weeks away from naming a winner on June 30. Remember, you've got futures for the NFL and college football. Wet your whistle here in June and get ready for the country, because as the great Waylon Jennings said, the country ready for you. Also, ladies and germs, remember, daily profit boost, 25% on Major League parlays, 3 picks or more. NBA playoff no danger wager, 50% of your stake back if your bonus bet wager loses. 20% NCAA baseball tournament profit boost bets, 3 picks or more. And remember, we're live always over at VIP Play. 200 leagues, numerous bet types, props, options. If you have a bet in mind, you can't find it, Robert Killer Kowalski will make it for you. For Brian Hartman, who's incredible today. That segment we did in the first segment with the Murray State coach and the guy that brought him to the table from Walter State, that's some of the best radio I've ever been a part of. I love that. For it, not again it. By the way, gambling problem, 800-889-9789, 21 and over to place a bet located in Tennessee. Bino will be here tomorrow, but listen anyway. I want to close today's show once again by saying happy birthday to my lovely bride. Sweetie, I love you. I hope it's a great day, and that's why I anticipate and encouraging myself to stay away from you as much as possible. Let you enjoy the U.S. Open, because that is your jam. We love you. We appreciate you. GBO, thank you to TLD Logistics online at tldlogistics.com. Till we meet again, for the entire cast and crew, my name's Tony. Peace. Love you. God bless. Oh, man. We really need to do a Butch Jones Tell Me a Story. I want to laugh. Another award-winning, thought-provoking.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
Happy Firking Thursday. And this might be a beginning of a new tradition around here, the Firking Thursday. As, boy, we got a stacked and packed program for you. First of all, in honor of this Grant Firking story, which Adam Sparks and Mike Wilson broke of your News Sentinel, we're going to talk about some of the absolute freak show stuff that we've seen around here in years past. Kind of a fun summer topic anyway. But you don't want to do it against the backdrop of a guy that's out there allegedly taking advantage of his teammates and taking advantage of people, and a guy that really just kind of looks like he hid in plain sight. I was talking to somebody today about the freaking thing, and Tennessee adopted him. They pushed him. They pushed the narrative that he was some golden boy. They made him sound like he was, he's a guy with a freaking lawn care business, for crying out loud. They made it sound like he was a cross between Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, with a little bit of Jeff Bezos mixed in. I mean, and you had guys like Paul Feinbaum having him on saying, you're the next Jimmy Sexton. The next Jimmy Sexton? I mean, I had somebody early on in that freaking thing say to me, hey, why don't you get this kid on the air? You know, I said, what? Do you know how many people are at UT that have a lawn care business in the summer, or did that when they were in high school? I mean, I'll put my hand up. I never bought it. I never bought any tickets from him, and I never bought it. But boy, the way that story reads, and then some of the stuff I've heard this week, that kid's from another planet. So in honor of him, it's probably going to be next hour. We're going to get to some of the freak show stuff we've seen around here, and I'm taking some nominations today over on Twitter X today. I say we're taking a straw poll later on today in the third hour in honor of the alleged straw man. And we're going to talk about and try to whittle down some of the craziest stuff we've seen around here. Maybe in the John Adams, Tony Basilio era. Because John Adams is in here on a freaking Thursday. John Adams, happy freaking Thursday to you. John Adams, are you there? Happy freaking Thursday, John Adams. Brian Hartman, are you there?
I'm here.
Happy freaking... I heard John laugh, and then he's not there anymore. Matt, happy freaking Thursday to you.
Good to be on here.
The second item of business besides that is that the courts have ruled in the ZZ Stop case, and they've ruled that ZZ's been stopped. So, no Zakai Ziggler, no Gainey. The judge rules. They just don't want to upset the apple cart, and it is what it is. But kudos to Marcos Garza, Zach Larza, and everybody involved for getting that thing as far down the track as they did. They got a lot further with that thing, and they came a lot closer, the observers say, than many people thought they would. They had a very compelling, interesting, inventive, creative argument, and good on them for trying. No harm in trying, as we say in the trade. And Tennessee now knows that they've got $2 million to play with in basketball, and they've got to go get themselves. We need to get Marcos on at some point to talk about this thing. But Tennessee now knows that they got $2 million to play with, and they need an off guard. So that's where they are. John, are you in here with us? Matt, do you like this John Adams, this new thing we get with John now? Are you for this or against this right now?
I'm always for it. I'm just glad John's in.
We heard him laugh. You heard him giggle. I heard him giggle. Hey, Matt, letter grade on the Vitello interview.
Is there bird watching in Omaha?
Matt, I didn't get to any of the questions with Tony. It kind of went in a different direction. Did you notice that yesterday, the Tony Vols interview, and what'd you think of it?
It was really compelling, as always. You and him have a nice, I don't know what you call it, on-air relationship where he kind of opens up to you when he normally probably doesn't want to. So it gave some really, I thought. So it was a really good interview. I'm glad you had him on and you were able to take about 30 extra minutes from him.
But I didn't.
Hopefully they don't lose a recruit over that.
But to the young kids out there, Matt, I didn't get to any of the stuff I wanted to get to, right?
Correct.
Because I just let him go. I just let him. I just listened to him and responded to what he was saying, while telling him, "Hey, you had a hell of a season, man. You had a hell of a season. You got nothing to apologize for." John Adams, are you in here with us, or are we going to have to get you dialed in during the break? Brian Hartman, tell the living listener what we have coming up in our first segment, followed by Berkey, followed by Freak Ring Thursday, where we go through, and that's where John's going to shine like the sun in the middle of the day, because I need his help, and I need your help on some of these past crazy scandals, these crazy presidents we've seen. This Furking thing is insane. You realize this guy was sitting with Donde Plowman at the NCAA tournament in March? I mean, this guy fooled some people now. No offense.
Is he going to be the next head coach at Bishop Sycamore?
That's a great line. This guy fooled a lot of people, apparently. You know, he was one of Danny White's first members of the Trailblazer Society. Now, they've scrubbed that off the internet. Everybody gave this guy a seat. Everybody gave this guy a seat. And here's the thing I've learned about people when you read stories like this. The stuff you read is the tip of the iceberg in stuff like in cases like this. Because inevitably what happens is the second story, third story, people come forward. Yeah, he got me. And this guy was... On3 made this guy the head of their whatever. What'd they do with him, Matt? Like he was their NIL. He had a straw company. What are you doing? I was looking at it the whole time going, Brian will tell you. People came to tell you. Said, you get this guy on. Because he had people pushing him. And I was like, huh? What? David Ubben wrote that the guy had 143 employees. 143 employees? You know how many employees that is? Do you know how many employees that is? That's what Tennessee was telling people. I mean, they sold this guy like they were selling gold. I mean, they sold this guy. Huh? What? Huh? Which shows you, because I think Donde Plowman's one of the more brilliant people I've seen in her spot. It just shows you that anybody can hide in plain sight. Another thing it shows you when you read that story is that wanting to be will get you every time. People that have to show you how much money they have, how much influence they have, how many people they know, you better watch those people, man. Those name-dropping people in your life, you better watch them. You better watch them. We're going to come back on the other side. Upon the continuance, Brian, one of the great stories in sports right now, Murray State. their head baseball coach, and also, Brian,
the head groundskeeper of their 800-seat stadium in Murray, Kentucky, Dan Skirka, and his mentor at Walter State, who he worked under, David Shelton. Will be on together.
I wonder if he ever bought anything for the Ferkland guy to help with the field up there.
Should I ask that guy if he's got any of the proprietary straw? I mean, this story, I'm sorry. I hate seeing people get beat out of money, though, man. That boils my blood. As we continue with more, we're going to try to connect with John Adams on the other side after this.
Hey, coaches, I'm Billy from Grade A Grounds. We help teams raise money with fresh roasted coffee that features your team's logo on every bag. It's easy to start, and you keep 40% of all the purchases. Visit our website, and let's get your team brewing today, gradeagrounds.com.
Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. And here at Rather & Kittrell, we understand that life is full of transitions. Since 2000, our team of dedicated certified financial planners has been helping individuals, families, and businesses navigate these changes with confidence. From comprehensive wealth management to tailored retirement plans, we're committed to guiding you toward a secure financial future. Ready to take the next step? Visit rkcapital.com or call us at 865-218-8400 to start your journey today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
Summer officially starts this month, and the last thing you want during sweltering heat is a broken air conditioner or HVAC system. That means it's more important than ever to keep you and your family comfortable and safe before extreme Tennessee temperatures arrive. Don't ignore the warning signs that your AC is struggling or nearing the end of its lifespan. And if you need emergency HVAC repairs, routine preventative maintenance, or want to invest in a new system, then call the trusted HVAC experts at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. This month, get up to a $1,000 discount when you buy and install a new air conditioner or HVAC system. We make it easy with free on-site estimates for replacements and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer flexible payment plans including 0% financing with credit approval. Be sure to ask about our 10-plus year warranties that are 2 times longer than industry standards, so you don't spend a cent on unexpected costs in the future. So call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to schedule your appointment today.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries, and accident